We're back. We're back with internet, with hopefully good signal. Oh my gosh.
Well, it can't get much worse than that.
It can't get much worse. California had
yes,
really, really bad signal in the entire town of Anaheim.
Yeah, the Technical Difficulties podcast is back to being just our own particular technical difficulties.
Just to when we screw up.
Yeah, we're both sharing it right now, so just give us a second of being rude on camera. And
we still love you, we promise.
Yeah, we do. We're actually going to break it up a little bit today. Rather than discussing places you can stay on Disney property, we're going to be talking about our trip with Adventures by Disney.
Woo!
Whose beautiful logo you can see on that bag there, and maybe on this bag. Might not be facing you, I don't know. We all shared?
We're all shared. We sound, we sound okay, I guess.
We sound wonderful here.
You can hear us. That's what I really need to say. So,
yeah.
We do have a couple of news items that we're going to go through pretty quickly, because we do want to spend the bulk of our episode talking about the trip, because it's definitely something that, it's a boutique kind of vacation.
Yes.
It's something that not a ton of people have experienced, so there's not much out there in the way of internet research. If you are going to Walt Disney World and you scour the internet for Walt Disney World information, you will find someone online 24/7 who will talk to you and answer your questions. The same cannot be said for Adventures by Disney, because it's just not... It's still a new product.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 10 or 15 years old, I think, but it's relative to the other Disney products, it's very new. It's something that, because it is in small groups and each itinerary is completely different, it's something that to find somebody who's done your itinerary, it's a little difficult. So,
hello to Howard, Brian, Amy, and Leah. Thank you for joining us.
So anyway, news really quick. Remember this weekend, what's today, Friday?
Today is Friday. It's
Next
Facebook
weekend.
Friday.
Next weekend, sorry, not this weekend. This weekend's other things. Next weekend, next Saturday is our Run Disney event at Counselor Park. Meet up with the Magic's Yours travel agents and do a 5K with us. You can run, walk, crawl. We don't really care. Bike it if you want. I think you can bike on the sidewalks in a park. That seems okay. Remember, you can bring your well-behaved and trained leashed pets. And we'll certainly have water for human and pet participants, and we hope to see everybody there. So that's at 8 a.m., Sunday the 10th. It's coming up. It's only 8 days from today, so hope to see you there. If you can't make it out in the morning at Counselor Park in York, we'd love to see you at our annual agent picnic, which is from 1 to 4 at Young's Woods Park in Hanover, Pennsylvania. So you can check us out at themagicsyours.com, and on our events page it has all the details, maps, and everything that you need to find us. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yep.
In other news around the world, as it were, of course, this past weekend was a really big opening weekend, but we've been talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, so we're going to do it very quickly. Pandora, the World of Avatar, opened at Animal Kingdom.
With the ride Flight of Passage?
Flight of Passage.
Did we finally get that right?
I think so. And Navi River Journey.
Yep.
As well as shops with exclusive merchandise, new dining experiences, etc. So lots of things to see at Pandora, the World of Avatar. I understand that the lines for the rides are quite long. It's Disney, and it's a new ride. It's going to happen. So definitely, if you're going, try to get a Fast Pass. You can only get one for one or the other ride. So choose the one that's going to be the most beneficial to you. And then if you're feeling, brave and you've got nothing else to do, wait standby for the other one. Or if you're staying on site, one of the perks is that there are magic hours, I believe every day right now, for on-site guests at Animal Kingdom. So that's another way that you can experience the ride. You can go at night during magic hours to enjoy the shorter lines. So great strategy there.
Oh, broadcast interrupted.
Seriously?
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, you guys.
There's just something.
Handle it.
I guess Facebook Live is not designed to sit around and talk for an hour.
We were talking for 2 minutes.
I know, but it knew it was coming. Hold on, let me make sure.
Okay.
I'm going to check behind the camera. All right, it's still showing.
It's still showing?
Yep.
Okay, for some reason it's not broadcasting to our phones. Okay.
So, hope everyone can see us.
We're going to keep talking, and we'll check the post at the end, and hopefully it goes.
Hopefully we don't have to redo this.
If not, we'll rerun the show.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh, Leah says we're fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Leah. So, anyway, continuing on. Where were we? Flight of Passage
opened, shops, long lines.
Right. Okay, long lines.
Disney,
magic hours.
the Disney usual.
Magic hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, on the West Coast at Guardians of the Galaxy...
Mission Breakout
opened the same day. And we were actually there in attendance for the gala opening. We did not ride the ride. We chose to waive off the 5 to 7 hour wait. And Well, first of all, I wasn't even going to ride. I just wanted to see the queue, and I definitely didn't want to wait 5 to 7 hours to see the queue.
Yeah. Apparently there were people lined up at 2 a.m., according to one cast member.
We asked the security guard, and it was like, hey, what time did the first wacko get here? And they were like, 2 a.m. We were like, okay, yeah. We walked in the park about 15 minutes before park opening.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, we're not getting in the line. It was crazy. It was, if you've been to Disneyland, they had the rope up at Hollywood Boulevard, and it was, the line went back to what is their hub, and to the front of the park. Now, you think that's not too bad, right? Except in grand Disneyland tradition, we had about 7 switchbacks full of people from the hub to the entrance and back, like 6 or 7 times. It was crazy. And the Fast Pass line was like probably half as long as the ride line at that point. And cast members were telling people like halfway back, like, you probably won't get a Fast Pass, just so you know, like, you're welcome to wait in line, but it's not going to happen. Like, go Rope Drop Radiator Springs Racers, because this is your chance.
Yeah.
You know?
And like 2 hours...
Which was down, by the way.
Yeah, which was down. 2 hours after park open, when we went back, the line for merchandise to get into the store at the end was an hour wait.
So we didn't get merchandise the first day. In fact, we didn't actually buy anything because, to be perfectly honest, the store was really a letdown as far as any kind of exclusive ride merchandise. We did go back the second day, and they weren't still selling the opening day pin, which I was considering maybe getting. So it was kind of a wash.
Yeah,
but
they had a couple of interesting T-shirts, but I don't buy Disney T-shirts because they shrink.
And I mean, it looks like a really cool ride, but like I said, it's not something I'm going to personally ride. So the excitement over the new ride for me, I was just kind of like, meh, you know. But I mean, Ben was pretty excited about it. I mean, we like the movie, and I'd like to see I will look at the queue sometime in the line, you know, after all of this dies down, but not at this point. So,
yeah.
We do have some pictures and videos and things, and we'll be posting those at some point and getting that info out for you. So we'll get to that eventually. But you know, there's unpacking and posting and doing Facebook Lives on Friday, and you know, work and other things. So it'll take us a little time.
Yeah, but you can go back on Holly's page. We like to have you travel with us, so there are plenty of videos there.
Right, and hopefully most of them are working.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for openings. I think that we had mentioned, flipping back to Avatar Land really quick, I think that we had mentioned about Flight of Passage. If you consider yourself to be a person of size, whether it's larger waist girth or leg girth, especially your calves, people are being advised to maybe proceed with caution and be prepared that you may not be able to ride Flight of Passage, because there are some safety concerns about those restraints, and they must click into a certain location before the cast member will allow you to ride. So if you're planning a trip to Disney in the near term, it's a problem that they're working on to try to make the ride vehicles accommodate more, like, average-sized people are being turned away because of just the particular dimensions of their body. Just be aware of it so that you don't go in and feel embarrassed if you can't ride. It's happening to about 22% of the people, they said, that are riding right now. So it's a large percentage. Don't get your hopes up if you don't fit like that. What teeny tiny body profile?
Did they like bring in the people that they modeled airplane seats on
to
design the rides for this? Because
the seats were smaller than at the El Capitan.
Yeah. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh, sorry.
You're getting ahead of yourself. You said we had to go in order.
I didn't say that.
You said we had to go in order.
So last piece of news for the day. Also, if you're headed to Walt Disney World anytime soon, the 3 o'clock parade is moving to 2 o'clock. So make sure you're picking up a times guide, and that you're not counting on that parade being at 3. It will be at 2. So
depending on where you are in the Magic Kingdom.
Depending on where you are. It could be 2:30. But just so that you're not sitting there for an extra... Or no, that would be the wrong way. Just so you don't miss the parade.
Yeah.
And think that you can stroll in Magic Kingdom about 2 o'clock and see it. No. You won't be able to get a spot up front by then. So that's it for the news for me. That's all I got.
That's all I got, because I didn't do any news checking.
Yeah, honestly, there's probably other stuff, but like I said, traveling, it just creates a busy time frame right around the time when you're gone. So that's what we got today. So moving on.
Yes.
Adventure. Adventure is out there.
It is.
We're going to talk just about the Adventures by Disney part of our trip. We added on a weekend at Disneyland before, a weekend at Disneyland after, and on the day that we started our adventure, we did a little bit of on your own time in Hollywood. We went to the Warner Brothers studio, and we went to Universal City Walk to Blaze Pizza for lunch. Yes. So that's very important, because I've been promising Ben that we'd go to Blaze Pizza at Disney Springs for like the last 3 trips that we were at Disney World, and we hadn't done it yet. So this was
now for us, that was like 6 months.
Yeah, but this was my opportunity to make it up to him. So so we went to Blaze Pizza for lunch.
Was that a pity pizza?
It was a pity pizza.
Oh my god, I can't believe it was a... I ate pity pizza.
It was actually really good.
It was good pity pizza.
So, yeah,
I'm not going to lie. I would have that again. Yeah.
What was the donut place? Voodoo Donuts?
Voodoo Donuts, yes.
Yeah, so Ben stepped at Voodoo Donuts and had a treat there too,
yes.
which we very much enjoyed.
I did.
Yeah. I don't donut, so...
Today's National Donut Day.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't get donuts. I got bagels.
So...
I cheated on my second
They're
love
like
donuts.
savory donuts.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what was going on before we got to our adventure. Now, just a little word about the start of our adventure. In our book, you might remember we did a cast about 30 days out when we got our itinerary book and our official, like, this is where you should be and when, and these are the activities that are scheduled for each day, etc. In our itinerary book, and in talking with the vacationistas at Adventures by Disney, yes, it's seriously what they're called. Don't make fun of me. They told us that we had to be there by 5. That dinner would probably start at 6, and we should plan to be at the hotel no later than 5, so we could check in with the guides and they knew where we were, etc. We actually arrived at the hotel at about 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the morning.
In the morning. We checked in, and our guides weren't there yet because 7 is an ungodly hour for people to be at a hotel checking in. So this was just to give us enough leeway to make sure we could get to our Warner Brothers tour because it was scheduled. If we missed it, we missed it. Like, there wasn't any, like...
And also so we could drop our bags off at the hotel and didn't have to tote them around Hollywood like a couple of tourists.
Right, and obviously we weren't going to take them to a studio tour because that would have been insane. So anyway, I digress. So anyway, our adventure guides weren't there at 7, obviously. And they called us at about 10 of 2.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Danny.
So we were on our way back from Blaze Pizza, and we were literally around the block. So, I mean, it wasn't like a big deal because we were almost there.
Yeah.
But they wanted to know when we were arriving because everyone was supposed to check in between 9 and 2. And that really wasn't conveyed to us by Adventures by Disney. Certainly not our guide's fault because they were just going by the prescription for what they had.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I felt like Adventures by Disney did drop the ball on a little bit. Actually, 2 things. The other thing was our luggage transfer. We stayed at Disneyland the weekend before, and we had called Adventures by Disney several weeks in advance and asked them, can our luggage, like at least one of our large bags each, please be held at Disneyland Hotel? We were literally going to Hollywood for 2 nights. There was no reason to tote, like, both carry-on size suitcases and full-size suitcases along. That was just insane. So they arranged it. It took several days to get an answer. They arranged it. It was supposed to be all set up. When we went down to drop our bags at Disneyland Hotel, the Bell Services people knew nothing about it. So
and they gave us a little bit of a hard time.
Yeah, they did. But I basically told them, I was like, look, it's already arranged, so you're going to hold the bags. So here you go.
Just so you know, the luggage area at Bell Services at Disneyland Hotel is open air.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's closed with a curtain type arrangement, but it's not like
sheltered from the elements or secure.
And that's why they didn't. Right, and that's why they didn't want to hold it. But at the same time, like, we called and made arrangements in advance. Those arrangements need to be honored. I don't care which branch of Disney you work for.
Make it happen.
Do your job. Yeah.
Although, given what happened with our bags with Adventures by Disney, it actually would not have been too much trouble to bring them with us.
No, it really wouldn't, because after we got to Los Angeles, we didn't really touch our bags much after that.
Yeah.
Other people handled them for
But that's in the future.
Right. It's in the future, like now.
Yeah. Well, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Day one. So, the very first thing that happened when we got back to the hotel...
You
talk for a little while.
What? I don't want to talk.
Oh, you don't want
I
to talk?
don't know. I don't remember what happened.
So,
I had a donut I was planning to eat.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, but we were greeted in the lobby of the Lowe's Hollywood Hotel, which is where Adventure by Disney puts you up when you're in doing this adventure. It's a very, very nice hotel, and it is basically located right in the heart of Hollywood Tourism Central. We were greeted by Abby and Michael, our 2 guides, 2 awesome guides.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they were great.
Love.
And they, like, basically walked us through the check-in. Like, they were like, okay, they took our order because...
We arrived, and we were basically, like, deer in the headlights, and they just, like, zip, zip, buzz, buzz. Things are done. Here are your lanyards.
That's because they had done it with, like, 25 other people before us. There were 27 people in our tour group, not counting the guides, which I thought was a little big. I mean, it wasn't a problem.
I thought it was really very manageable.
Oh, it was definitely manageable. I thought it was going to be slightly smaller, but I'm not complaining.
I think the max tour group is 40.
Okay, all right.
So it was actually on the smaller side for Adventures by Disney.
So yeah, they sped us through check-in. They did all the talking with the hotel front desk people, and they were great about it. Our rooms were ready.
Right, and granted, we had already checked in that morning, so they kind of had some things were partially started, but we didn't have our room number and assignment, I think.
Yep.
So.
And then we had a menu shoved in front of us for the next day's lunch at the Tam O'Shanter.
Oh, that's right.
And we had to pick our meal.
I totally forgot about that.
Which was easy because I just went down and found the first thing that said beef or rib. And said, I'll take that one.
Yeah. Tam O'Shanter is known for their prime rib, so it was a pretty easy choice because, when in Rome, you go with the specialty.
Yeah. Although that does break our usual rule of we get something different when we go to a new place, so we can each try it.
Also?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you had something different.
Because I was looking at doing the pit beef sandwich. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway. And then we were allowed to go up to our room and chill until the 5 o'clock dinner hour.
The dinner was actually at 6.
Oh, 6. I'm sorry.
But so we had about 4 hours when we got there to kind of explore the complex around the hotel, and it was a really cool hotel. Did we say we stayed at the Lowe's Hollywood?
I did.
Okay, Lowe's Hollywood Hotel. You're on it. When you walked through the convention space and out into the main, what do you want to call it? Plaza?
Yeah, plaza.
Plaza area. It was 4 stories, I think.
Yeah, it was 4 stories.
Shops, restaurants, just little. There was a mummy-themed escape room in the one place.
Also, there was a giant mummy-themed sarcophagus at the center of the complex, the front center.
And there were.
It was basically
the elephants were there, right?
Yeah, the elephants were. Basically, it is horseshoe-shaped, with the closed end, which you can still get through, being the Lowe's Hollywood Hotel and giant sarcophagus. And then the inside edges of the horseshoe are shops and restaurants like a Dave & Buster's, a sock shop, a Johnny Rockets, a couple other places.
Right. And the elephants that were in that plaza were part of a movie set.
Yes, or they were a recreation of a movie set known for being one of the most expensive.
Yeah, and it was an homage to this. I don't remember what movie it was.
I don't remember
what it was either. I have it written down in my notes that are in my phone, but that's recording. So
yeah,
sorry.
Sorry. Phone's doing its job.
Phone's working hard.
Yeah.
So from there, we just kind of explored a little bit. I knew that we were going to the Disney Soda Fountain, which is sponsored by, is it Ghirardelli or Ghirardelli? I don't know.
It's Ghirardelli, I think. I don't know.
We're going to call it Ghirardelli because that's the way it sounds better to me. So Ghirardelli Soda Fountain across the street, which is combined effort with Disney and the El Capitan Theater. I think Disney owns both of them or owns the rights to both of them. Disney's involved. So they have pins at the soda fountain that are exclusive to that location. And if you have ever tried to buy it's marked DSF, Disney Soda Fountain, pin on eBay, they are outrageously expensive because it's literally this one location that you can buy them, and they do limited edition after limited edition after limited edition. There are certain pins that you get free with the purchase of a sundae, and they're called Pin Trader's Delight. Those things are like hotcakes on eBay. So I was really excited to go there.
That is the first thing we did after we tried to find our way down.
Right. This plaza, we found out later, actually earned an award for being the worst designed shopping plaza in America.
Yes, something like that. It was something.
It's designed poorly.
Yes.
Usually you'd have the down and up escalators beside each other.
Or even close to each other?
Parallel to each other, maybe across the horseshoe?
Able to see one from the other? No.
Right, no. The up escalator was just as you walked out. If you walked in a straight line, you could go up the escalator. The down escalator was down the hall, around the corner, over there.
I think we eventually found real steps and went down those.
We went down the stairs. We couldn't find the escalator. So, yeah, we agree with that assessment that it's the worst designed complex ever. But it's cool. It's just bad up and down design. Yep. So
first thing we did was we went over to the Ghirardelli Soda Fountain and someone bought pins. Yeah.
Because I got most of one of each of everything they had, except for ones that I really genuinely didn't care about. And then actually we didn't get the Pin Trader's Delight because
yes, we did.
Yeah, but we got it later.
Yeah.
But they had the little hedgehog from Alice in Wonderland was one of the 3, but it was sold out already.
Of course,
I was really bummed because I collect Alice in Wonderland. So.
Alice in Wonderland people, there's a lot of love for Alice in Wonderland on the West Coast. There really is.
Okay, so after Ghirardelli, did we come back to the room after that?
Yeah.
We might have browsed around at the Walk of Fame a little bit, which was actually, that was one of the biggest surprises to me. I don't know what I pictured, because obviously, hundreds of stars have a star on the Walk of Fame. And as we found out later, you actually pay Hollywood $40,000 to get your star. after you're invited. So I guess there are stars maybe that turn it down, that don't want a star. I don't know, but it's a big money making scheme for the city of Hollywood, or not city of Los Angeles. Hollywood's like a area zone.
I don't know. It's like its own planet.
Yeah, it kind of is. I see what you did there. So anyway, I thought that the stars would be kind of like together in one place.
Nope.
No, they stretch on both sides of the street for blocks and blocks and blocks on cross streets. There are hundreds of them. They're everywhere. So I don't know. That was just surprising to me, and I don't know why. Because thinking about it rationally, a sidewalk is only so big.
Yep.
How many stars can fit on it? How many movie stars have there been over the course of the last 100 years? Of course, it's bigger than that, but it surprised me.
We went to Ghirardelli Soda Fountain. We skipped the ice cream, got the pins, and then we wandered around for a little bit and came back to...
Yeah, and then just kind of chilled at the hotel for a little bit. And
then we went down to our welcome dinner. Yeah.
The hotel did not have a balcony, which I think is something worth pointing out, because usually when I'm looking for a hotel, that's something that is reasonably important to me. I like to be able to sit outside and look at whatever our view is. I didn't see another hotel in Hollywood that had a balcony.
I'm sure they're all closed.
Yeah, so that just, I don't know why, it just kind of struck me as odd. We did have a really cool view out of our window, though.
We did.
Because we had the city view, and if you look kind of over to the left, you could see the mountains. And we could actually, if you went all the way to the right-hand side of the window, we could see the Hollywood sign from our window. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dinner, we met our fellow adventurers.
Yes, it was very awkward at first, because there were a whole bunch of people going through this lobby. You're like, are those Disney people?
You're like, that one's wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt.
That one's wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt. That's probably Disney people.
That guy's wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Star Wars shirt. Probably Disney people.
people.
So, yeah. And then, Abby and Michael joined us all in the... did we get our things then?
I think we got our lanyards then.
I don't remember.
I think we probably did, because that's when they gave us our first pin.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't think they would have given us our lanyards at check-in, because they know full well people are going to not wear them to dinner. So I'm pretty sure they were at our place.
Yep.
Because that's how we found our names.
Yes.
We had to look at our lanyard tag for our name.
Yes.
And I'm wearing Ben's lanyard now. So.
Yes. Holly's lanyard is over here somewhere.
Dinner was a buffet. It was good. I won't say spectacular. It was, if you've ever done one of the Hanover Country Club sports banquets, it was on par with their food. As far as selection, I mean, there were plenty of different options to choose from. Certainly, being a buffet, nothing gourmet by any stretch of the imagination, but it was good. There wasn't anything that I tried that I don't think was bad. Does anything stand out to you?
You weren't super thrilled with the beef you tried.
Yeah, but I'm really iffy on beef anyway. Yeah. Like I'm particular about it.
It was food. I liked it.
Yeah, but it was good. Yeah. So nice dinner, and the folks at our table were all very nice.
Yes.
And we kind of there were two couples at our table that actually met each other on their first Adventure by Disney trip, and they've traveled together ever since. So they kind of hung together, and they did things with the rest of the group, but they were enjoying the trip as couple friends, so they didn't really, mix in with everybody else a ton. At first.
Yeah.
And then the other two couples in our group actually ended up being the ones that we were most likely to hang out with.
Yes.
And then a very nice lady and her niece at another table.
Yep.
We're kind of the ones that we ended up palling around with the most of the time. If you will.
Yeah.
So... it was a kind of a situation where the people that you met first at your table kind of became like your group that you clung to.
Yeah, they and Abby and Michael were very good about going over our itinerary. They made sure and this happened every day.
They knew what information we needed and when we needed it.
And they told us where to be and when to be.
Yep.
And they were just like, just be there. Don't be there at 8:16. Be there at 8:15.
Right.
Be there
at 8:14. 8:14 will be fine.
Yeah. But not 8:13. No. But they were that was part of what they were doing. It was a general introduction to it and what we were going to see. And this was a kind of a walk in Walt's footsteps Adventures by Disney,
which is interesting because there's a tour of the exact same name at Disneyland.
Yeah.
But we've taken that tour, and this was a very different experience.
It was.
It was similar in that. We had a lot of similar conversations.
Yes.
But because of the places that we were able to go, we were able to talk about them more in depth and get a little bit more insight. And there were some things that were thrown in that were just in there because they're cool and Disney could open that particular door for us and wanted us to be able to do something neat.
Yep.
So,
And then...
Oh, we did Jeopardy trivia.
We did.
That first night.
That Holly demolished everyone
I
at.
killed it.
with help from our table.
With help. Kathy actually, she jumped in on 2 of them and saved me. She rescued me.
Yeah, but it was very, it was actually good trivia for the most part.
It really was. It was like,
except Abby and Michael, the true and false category, I don't know, I think that's got to go.
Yeah, that had a
because you could steal an answer, but
right.
if true and false was wrong, anyway.
Yeah.
You guys get it.
Yeah. But it was good. Very good game.
And then, did we do anything after that? Or was that, like...
There was another game sort of thing, but it's... Oh, gosh, it's fading already.
No, it was like, talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it, and then...
Oh! The pictures of the castles.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so they gave us pictures. First of all, they asked us to raise our hands if we thought we were good at Disney trivia, so of course I shot my hand up in the air, right? Because I'm pretty cocky. Like, I've won trivia on Disney Cruise Line, and we got free luggage tags and a free copy of the Haunted Mansion DVD. Like...
The best prize of all, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, we haven't figured out who we're regifting that to yet, have we?
Howard, Leah, what are you guys up to? Do you have any birthdays or anything coming up?
So, we wouldn't do that to you.
We wouldn't. I hope they do that reboot of Haunted Mansion. They hope to do it well. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, they gave us, handed us pictures of each Disneyland type park, which would be like Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, etc. The picture of their castle, and told us to put them in order by year. Or no, write down. Oh no, it was write down the year that this castle first debuted.
Yep. It was hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know the international castles that well.
Yes.
And second, I don't know what year those parks opened. So we took a couple shots in the dark, and
you ended up with 4 out of 6.
I'm proud to say that we tied for the highest with 4 out of 6. There was another table that also.
But we lost in the lightning round.
We lost in the lightning round. I forget what the lightning round question was.
I forget too,
yeah,
but
it's not really that's not really relevant to your potential trip, but it was amusing to us. It was really fun. It was. I like to do trivia where I don't win, honestly, because I like to learn something new and well, it was good.
Yeah. And then we just kind of chatted after that.
Yeah, we stayed for a while. We actually stayed to the point where Abby and Michael were like, "Okay, guys, you have to leave."
Yeah,
we only got the room rented till 9. You gotta go.
They were like, "Yeah, you guys can hang around as long as you want." Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
then like an hour and a half later, it's like, we're closing it down. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah. So we all went back. We weren't good enough friends at that point yet that anybody wanted to go out for a nightcap. So we all went up to our rooms and sadness and. We just
Leah says a 4 out of 6 is respectable, and that we did tie, Leah. So.
Thank you.
So that was the end of our first
day. Yeah, so it sounds a little bit like, oh, it's your first day and you had dinner. Yes, but meeting your fellow adventurers is a really big part of this because you're going to spend, in this case, we were spending 6 days with these people.
Yes.
So it actually was really important to have something kind of set aside that wasn't an activity that was going to take everybody's focus, and you could focus on being a member of the group.
It was the school lunchroom. You had to figure out which table you were going to sit at.
True story.
So, and then we got together, like 8:15 the next morning?
It was early, yeah.
Yeah, it was 8. I think it was 8:15. That's not early.
Oh, no. Because breakfast was at 7.
Oh, breakfast was at 7. That's right.
And breakfast was optional. You had from 7 to 8 to have breakfast, and then
we met at
had to
8:15.
meet in the lobby at 8:15.
Yeah.
So we chose to go to breakfast every day, and we kind of made it. I don't know if we consciously decided this or not, but anytime there was an optional group activity,
we always did it.
Because,
and you should.
Right. And I would highly recommend that. If you're on this trip and your guides say, hey, there's an optional meetup at such and such a time, go. Because it's not an inexpensive trip. And if they're going to offer you something as part of the group that you don't have to go entertain yourself, go to it. Unless you legitimately need a break, if you're, having some sort of medical struggles or whatever, and you actually need time to go, or you can't adjust to the time change of wherever you are or something like that. Then you should definitely go.
But this should also be noted: they don't push you. They expect you to be on time, but they aren't like this isn't some sort of like forced death march of fun or anything like that.
Right.
They make sure everyone's cool.
It was very pleasantly paced the entire trip. And we had people on our trip. The age range on our trip was 18 to 70.
Yeah.
So we definitely had people of all capabilities on this trip, and everyone was able to keep pace with what was happening. Some you could see struggling more than others because of various medical conditions and whatnot.
Yeah.
We were also fortunate that it wasn't very hot. It was the temperatures were very mild by the time the adventure started.
Yes.
Our first weekend was hot, but that's
it was very hot.
Point. Yeah. So day two.
Day two.
Breakfast was at Preston's in the hotel. It was the hotel breakfast. I was a little underwhelmed by Preston's, honestly.
I thought it was fine.
But I'm not a big breakfast person.
And they put mushrooms in her omelet.
They put mushrooms in my omelet on the first day, for which I will never forgive them.
Yeah, so her opinion is colored slightly, mushroom colored.
Yeah, and I took a bite of it before realizing what had happened. And
I'm telling you, just tell people you're allergic to mushrooms.
7 o'clock in the morning.
It's going to make your life so much easier, and mine. Yeah. Anyway, the first stop on the tour was that TCL?
TCL.
TCL, formerly Carlman's Chinese Theater.
And we actually made a mistake here. We went up on our way to the TCL, the Dolby Theater, which is where the Oscars are held.
Oh, that's right. We stopped there first.
And they actually have a contract to hold the Oscars there until 2071, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
That was our first stop, and we talked about the Oscars and the red carpet. And one of the cool features of that theater is if you are downstairs and you're looking up, I mean, they don't have the red carpet out all the time, obviously, because it's filthy. But the stairs actually have red stone mosaics on the front of them so that it blends with the red carpet.
Yeah, on the risers and the sides.
Yeah, I actually can't wait for the Oscars next year because I want to look at the background and see what's going on at the theater. But something that I missed.
Thanks, Leah.
Something that I missed on the schedule, the paper that we had been given at check-in, because it was kind of a flurry, and we were trying to get ourselves organized because we had switched hotels and dropped off some luggage, and it was all.
To be fair, Holly was doing all of that.
Ben was napping. At any rate, I didn't fully read the entire paper that they gave us at check-in. I know, I'm a bad person. It specifically said on there that if you want to spend time in the Dolby Theater, that it was open and you could go in. So originally I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, I thought we spent all this time talking about the theater. Why did we go inside? Well, we were supposed to do that on our own, and I just missed it. So that was on me. But we did go to the TCL Chinese Theater, which used to be Grauman's Chinese Theater. And we did go inside there, and that was actually our first little adventure surprise. When we walked into the lobby, the tour guide? Owner?
Manager?
I don't know.
I think a manager.
Manager of some sort, tour guide maybe, handed us a free popcorn. So I was like, glad you had breakfast. Sorry it was hotel breakfast. Here's popcorn to compensate. So that was our first little trip freebie.
Yep.
We walked into... Oh, God, we didn't even talk about the pin from the first night. We'll get back to that in a minute. Okay,
yep.
So we walked into the theater and looked at all the artwork, and they talked a little bit about the history of it and where... for things that were extremely interesting in that moment, and I've completely forgotten now.
Things like the concrete pillars that are part of it are also part of the air conditioning system. Like the paintings on the ceiling and around, all the artwork around is original.
In the main section.
In the main section,
and it's never been touched by another artist since it was built in 19 something. But the wings have actually been retouched quite frequently because the design of the roof is such that it leaks like a sieve.
Yeah, when they do get rain,
when they do get rain, the 5 days a year.
Yeah. So he took us around. There's movie memorabilia and cases, costumes, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. He took us around and he described all of it to us, told us some of the history of it, and
we saw Dorothy's dress from
Dorothy's dress, one of Dorothy's dresses, right. Yes, and then. They had the Arnold get up from Terminator 2. They had James Dean.
There was a Star Wars case
with the tribute. It was the tribute fan left to Carrie Fisher, which was very sweet.
That was very nice.
Yeah, and
then we walked into the theater.
Yep, and we saw a movie.
Yeah, and now a movie was just a short film.
It was a short film.
It was a short film about the theater and its construction history. And how they've kept up with changing technology because the theater is 100 years old.
Yep.
And it has an IMAX screen in it. So they talked about how they had to excavate to make the IMAX screen fit into the existing infrastructure.
And not only did they talk about it, but they had like a stop motion, not stop, time lapse footage of that work being done, which was actually really awesome to see.
And the theaters, it never crossed my mind until we got there about how lush and extravagant the movie theaters are. I think of an extravagant theater, I think Hershey Theater is a really beautiful theater.
It is.
Now, not probably as, quite as extravagant as some of the other, inner city theaters, but it's a really, really a very beautiful building. And when I compare that to, the movie theaters, movie theater here in Hanover, it's nice. I mean, I love our theater. Our theater's great.
Yeah.
and it's got 9 screens. I mean, they're not worried about making the theater a beautiful experience.
And it's the difference between a theater and a movie theater.
Right.
So.
And it just never occurred to me. I just assumed that this is how theaters were everywhere, movie theaters. But this theater was much more like the Hershey Theater, and it had actual box seats, and everything was like lined in velvet, and there was an actual curtain in front of the movie screen.
In fact, didn't you say they had to like redo the curtain?
Yeah.
And like it took them like 2 years to make it or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, it was beautiful. Like the building itself was beautiful, which I just wasn't prepared for. That was one of my like, wow, this is really amazing kind of moments.
Especially considering how much of an eyesore a lot of LA is.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they let us eat popcorn in this theater. We walked in with popcorn. I was like, I don't think we're allowed to eat.
They gave us a drink too, didn't they? Didn't they give us water? Was later. Was that later?
They gave us water.
They gave us water.
They gave us water. Yeah. You're right. Okay.
It's definitely like can't drop any popcorn.
Right.
Can't drop any popcorn.
So we left the TCL and we had a little bit of time. The guys were really good about giving us some time on our own to make sure we had plenty of opportunity to explore wherever we were.
So we got to explore the hand and footprint area of the Chinese
Which
theater.
Of course was great. You know, we walked
TCL
around
theater.
like stepping in people's footprints and taking pictures and stuff. So, and that was like the opposite experience of the Walk of Fame. I couldn't believe the number of hand and footprints that were crammed in that teeny tiny little space. It seemed like every time you walked past a row, they changed or something.
Apparently Hershey Theater has a pool and a pipe organ.
Holy crap. Wow.
Anyway.
So, after we regrouped, we boarded our coach bus for the first time.
It was
with our driver, Alan.
Our driver, Alan, who was awesome. Mm-hmm. And it was a very nice motor coach, very comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we went like a block.
Yeah, we definitely could have walked.
We definitely could have walked.
But bear in mind, we did have, like I said, our age range was 18 to 70.
Yeah.
So walking through LA with crosswalks and things, it just...
Someone was going to get hit. It was going to be bad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they did take us around the block and point out a couple of sites on the way.
Like the In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, that's true. That we didn't quite make it to. Okay, whatever. You got to see a thing.
I know.
Instead.
Okay.
So we went to Jim Henson's studio, formerly Charlie Chaplin's studio.
Yep.
Ben bought a hat.
Holly got a pin. I know that's a surprise to everyone.
It's on that lanyard over there. It's the 60th anniversary pin for Jim Henson Studios, which I think is this year, maybe.
Last year. It was last year. I think it was last year.
Anyway, I got a pin.
Yeah.
So, cool tour.
Yeah.
But not a lot of...
There were no Muppets in sight.
Right. I mean, we took a picture with Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
But...
And we held an Emmy.
Yeah, that was cool.
And of course, they had pictures of one of my favorite television shows, Farscape, up there because Jim Henson Studios did all the puppet work for Farscape.
We were actually really hoping to see Jim Henson's Creature Studio, which is not on the lot.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I just assumed the Creature Studio was on the lot, so I thought that was going to be part of the tour, or at least we'd talk about it, and the only mention of it was that it doesn't live here.
Yeah, anymore. So, like they call it like the workshop or something like that. They outgrew it. So
it used to be in. So.
But there was a cool Muppet mural on the wall we got to take a picture with. We had an excellent puppet guide.
Yeah, and I actually got to do a puppet like on camera and make it do its thing.
Yeah, we learned a couple of interesting things. When we first met our guide, she had these like tall stompy shoes is how I refer to them, stompy boots, and she was talking about it later, and she said, well, you might be wondering why I'm wearing these.
And I was actually, from the minute I saw them, I was like,
those look exceptionally uncomfortable.
I was like, that's an interesting footwear choice for work.
So it turns out that since a lot of the puppeteers who started the studio were men, they were also very tall. So when they oriented the camera, they can't be on camera, and they have to reach up to keep their puppets above the sight line, basically. So people who are shorter, as women tend to be. Vanessa, I think.
Yeah.
They have to wear tall shoes so that they can get their puppet in the proper frame.
Yeah, so it can not just see the top of its head.
Yeah. It was super interesting, and it
was actually really fun. I really liked playing with the puppets. Like I would kind of like to have a puppet so that I could do
that can be arranged.
A proper puppet show.
Indeed.
So, that was really cool. And like nobody in our group wanted to volunteer. Vanessa's like, well, who wants to try putting a puppet on camera? And I was like, Me, teacher pick me. And I'm thinking, like, everybody's going to raise their hands, and I'm not going to get picked, and I was the only one that raised my hand.
I know. So she got to spend a lot of time with the puppet.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Which was a hedgehog?
I don't even know. I was just excited.
Or was hers a hedgehog? We have pictures that will go up eventually.
Yeah, I was way too excited to even know what was going on at that point. It was like, it was one of those, like, everything started to turn to like stars in my frame of vision. Yeah, it was really really neat, and
to me that was the best thing on that tour by like a landslide.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was. So yeah, we did. There was a short movie too,
right? Which was nice. They had they had chairs, and then for the kids they had beanbag seating.
Also for Holly, Holly belly flopped onto a beanbag chair, and. Everyone applauded.
Yeah.
I did not because I'm a stick in the mud. Yeah. So.
There are two other things I want to mention. The vault that Charlie Chaplin used to store his films in was still there in its original form. So that was kind of a neat thing to see. It was an old Hollywood relic. I believe they said he was one of the first people to realize that. Hey, maybe we better preserve these films and lock them up and make sure they're safe.
I think that's right, yeah.
Actually, three things. And I just lost one of them out of my head. The store, the Jim Henson studio, is quite amusing because this isn't a studio that's open for public tours. So they don't really have a proper store because no one ever comes there.
They've got like a curio cabinet with some merchandise in it. Hat.
It was pretty funny. And you walked in the store, and it was a lady sitting at a folding table, and then across from her was the window of the commissary where the people who work there order their lunch.
Yep.
So,
and you paid for your store purchase at the commissary window.
Yeah, it was just
very interesting.
It was very funny.
You did get to see Kermit's backside in the studio too.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a statue of Kermit dressed as Charlie Chaplin that faces out to the street. So when you come into the courtyard. Like,
and
you're
I'm pretty
staring
sure
at
our
Kermit's
guides
butt.
pointed that out to us.
They
did,
yes.
This is the only chance you'll get to see Kermit's butt.
Or like Vanessa said something about, like, where else do you get to see Kermit's butt all day?
Yeah, right here, apparently.
Yeah.
The soundstage is one of the most, at Henson Studios, is one of the most sought after in Hollywood because, unlike a lot of the big LA recording studios that have multiple booths, the Henson Company soundstage is just one soundstage. So all of the focus is on whoever that recording artist is. So, like, Miley Cyrus records there, and...
Didn't they do... Is it We Are the World? Or...
We Are the World was done there, yep.
Yep.
Oh gosh, who else did they say had been there recently? My head is saying Janet Jackson, but I don't think that's correct.
No. Yeah. Jennifer Lopez?
Maybe. There was something about Jennifer Lopez in one of our tours somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we forget. Someone famous besides Miley Cyrus.
Was it Zac Efron who was there and he joined one of the tours?
Yes.
And, like, they didn't realize who it was at first, and then it was like...
And there were a bunch of teenage girls in that particular tour that was not an adults only, and apparently they've just, like, completely melted over the fact that Zac Efron was there. Yeah, maybe it was Zac Efron.
I don't know.
It was a famous teenage boy. Or
anyway.
20-something boy.
Anyway.
Okay, moving on.
Yes.
So we got back on the bus and headed to the Tam O'Shanter for lunch. Much longer drive than I anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why our cab ride to Warner Brothers and our Uber back didn't seem very long, but it felt like we were on the bus for ages. So I don't know if they must be in a different direction. It's a different. Well, I guess it is because it's to the east, whereas we went north. So,
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we were on the bus for a while. And our guides did point out to us a couple of really cool landmarks, one of them being the Church of Scientology.
One of the churches of Scientology.
Holy crap. They converted a hospital into a church, and the thing is enormous. Like, I don't know how many people must be in this religion, because it's huge. Just absolutely huge.
Don't talk too much about it, they'll come and shut down our feed.
Okay. So continuing on, we went past the first Disney Brothers studio, which was like a rented out office front, and there's still a Mickey Mouse emblem in the window as a tribute. So we didn't stop and take any pictures or anything, but they did point it out as we were passing it. Unfortunately, we couldn't go to the second studio, which was the Hyperion Avenue studio, because it's been demolished and turned into a supermarket.
Yes.
So, fine, whatever.
Yeah, the big blue one, Melissa.
Yeah. Have you seen it? Isn't it crazy?
Yes. That place also creeps us out.
So, anyway, we had lunch at the Tam O'Shanter, which is a Scottish-themed restaurant.
Yep.
Like we said, famous for their prime rib, and it was it was so cute. I mean, it looks like a little Tudor house in the
Yeah,
middle.
it was basically the inspiration for like this
Yeah,
Snow
for
White's
Snow White's
Cottage
Cottage.
and a couple other
And,
places, I believe.
They told us stories where Walt would send the animators there, like if they'd had a crappy idea, he was like, "No, tear that up and go to the TAM and get some lunch. Come back with a better idea." There were
they had lunch at the Tam O'Shanter so much they just called it the commissary for the original Disney Studios.
Because the Hyperion Avenue studio didn't have an on-site commissary
Right.
because it was just the next step up from the storefront. So
I don't think Tom Cruise was there, Howard.
I mean, if he was ensconced in the institution, and we did not see him.
Anyway,
So is there anything else about the TAM that's relevant?
food was really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was.
It was very crooked, so apparently
yeah.
it's intentionally designed that way.
Yeah,
Something about like throw away your level,
right? Because they
and,
wanted it to have the feel of an authentic Scottish restaurant, so it should be leaning slightly.
and it was very like low and dark, and it was very like just slightly askew, but everything was great. Everyone and
the service there was really fantastic.
It was really great, and they make the waitresses have like a kind of a uniform.
Right.
Like
it's a very Disney-like place.
It is, yeah.
I could definitely see that as a theme restaurant. In fact, I'm surprised one didn't make it into Disneyland.
I don't know.
I think it would have been a good tribute. Maybe they should work on that.
Maybe they should.
I know where they could put it.
Anyway.
We had a bad restaurant experience at the end of our trip.
But that wasn't on Adventures by Disney, so we're not going to talk about it today.
Except that they could put the Tam O'Shanter Part 2 there instead.
Back on target.
Okay, back on topic.
Back on target.
So, when we left the Tam O'Shanter...
Don't go to PCH Grill.
PCH Grill's terrible. For breakfast. We boarded the bus again, our magical
back
flying
on the bus.
carpet. And at this point, our guides announced to us, because they had told us that we weren't going to get back to the hotel till like 3, but it was like 1:30.
Yeah.
So they said, well, would you guys like to go on a special surprise adventure? And we're like, yeah, of course, let's go, let's do it,
Especially since you're holding us hostage.
Because we don't really have any choice. But honestly, like, I don't know who would have wanted to miss this.
Yeah.
It was great. So if you're not familiar with the theoretical backstory of
the
Walt
mythological origin of Disneyland.
It's from Walt and taking his daughters to the carousel on Saturday afternoons and watching them ride and feeling like there ought to be a place that the parents and the kids could have fun together, because apparently he felt like he couldn't ride the carousel. So they took us to the carousel. It was great. The proprietor of the carousel, Julio, came and unlocked it especially for us, and it's enormous.
It is big.
I've never seen such a big carousel before. I was blown away, because my expectation, like hearing about this mythical carousel, is that it was like a fraction of the size of the one at Disney. Maybe the horses were really small, and that's why Walt couldn't ride and the girls could. I didn't understand why he couldn't get on the carousel.
I don't know either.
So, and I still don't, because I rode, so I'm not sure what the problem was. But it was huge. The horses on the carousel are black. And it was really striking because, I mean, other than Disney, and like Hershey Park and Knoebels, I can't think of another place really that I ride a carousel. There's one in the pier in San Francisco. There's like the double-decker one. But there aren't a lot of them around anymore. So I've never seen one that I can recall that doesn't have white horses on it, because I feel like that's just what's on carousels. And of course they're painted like with their ribbons and saddles or whatever, but the horses themselves, I don't ever recall seeing black horses on the carousel.
And these were still a lot of original horses, so they had like horsehair tails and manes.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was very interesting, and they looked very old.
There was a weight limit on the
There was a weight limit, a suggested weight limit. I didn't ride, because I don't want to be the guy who broke Walt Disney's carousel. But
yeah, I might actually have been.
Apparently, there is one in Hershey Park.
Oh, what?
Cough, Hershey Park.
No, there is one in Hershey Park.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
I don't think are the horses black in the one in Hershey Park? I don't think.
We'll wait for Leah to respond.
Leah will let us know.
Yeah, she'll let us know.
She's an annual pass holder.
She knows these things.
Yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah. So this carousel, we've all been on them, right? They go like -2 miles per hour, and they're super slow, and they're fun, but they're not like. I mean, it's certainly not a thrill ride.
Nope.
This carousel, we rode at 14 miles per hour. Its max speed is 25 miles per hour. if they'd have cranked that sucker up to 25, we'd have been flinging people off.
Yeah, and it is apparently still manually controlled.
Yeah.
So there's like a handbrake they have to apply, and
very, very cool.
Yeah, it was a very neat experience. Julio was really great.
Oh, a few of them are not white. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't looked that closely at that one, but they're shiny. I think.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all shiny because I mean these were like matte black with gold trim that was mostly rubbing off.
Yeah, there's a picture of Holly on it posted to one of our pages.
Somewhere in there. Scroll down. After the show. Don't leave. So yes, we got to ride the carousel, which was just really great. And they have these great tributes up to Walt Disney, and of course they have Walt's Bench, which is really cute because they also have Walt's Bench at Disneyland Park in the Disney Gallery, and they have Walt's Bench at the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. So
somewhere might be fibbing a little
surely
bit.
I mean, he probably didn't have a regular bench that he sat on every single time. They probably took all of
the he had a regular booth at the TMY.
That's true. They probably took all of the original benches that were there in 1955 and then divvied them up to places that it would be appropriate for them to be located. So when you see Walt's Bench at any of the locations, you might or might not be seeing the actual bench.
And the table, they had Walt's table reserved at the TMY, just following up, and there were still like sketches on it.
Yeah, places where they were sketching on paper and it like rubbed through to the table, and then places where I think they might have just actually sketched right on the table.
Yeah. so very cool, very cool.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
So yeah, carousel ride, awesome.
Yeah. After the carousel ride, we returned to the hotel. And that was where, if I was disappointed about anything, it was the fact that we went back to the hotel after the carousel, because also in Griffith Park is Walt's Barn, which is where Walt's collection of trains is housed. So I was really hoping to get to go, and I know other adventures have gotten to go in the past, but it was not listed on our itinerary. I actually called 3 times to Adventures by Disney just because I never trust one answer from Disney. I want 3 answers. So I called 3 times, and every single time they told me we were not going to the barn. We asked Abby and Michael at the beginning of the trip. They said we were not going to the barn. I was like, but maybe it's a surprise. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Surprise, we're not going.
Surprise, we're not going. So I was like, all these people are lying to me. They're taking us to the barn. So Ben and I actually talked about going there before the adventure, but I'm also going to Disneyland with my dad in January, and we're going to actually hit the 1 day a month that the barn is open, so we'll see it then. So I'm not too torn up about it, but I had been really hoping to see it. So if I was disappointed about anything, that was the thing. Anyway, we went back to the hotel, and we were invited to join our guides for an ice cream social at 5 at Ghirardelli. And we did, because, like I said, if it's an optional activity, go.
Yep.
Because it's worth it. It's awesome.
Yeah, no trains, Howard. Not this time.
No, not this time. But January we'll have trains.
Yep.
Anyway, we showed up for the ice cream social, and we were led down to the birthday room downstairs, which was kind of cool. They had random like movie cardboard cutouts and things in there, which was kind of, I don't know where they came. I guess from the theater next door, they were just decorating the room for funsies. I don't know. I think were they the Pirates ones?
Yes, they were.
I wasn't really paying attention.
How funny.
At the time, I wasn't paying attention. So
foreshadowing almost.
So we enjoyed our ice cream.
Free ice cream.
I was still pretty full by that point. I had a root beer float, and you had the Pin Trader's Delight sundae.
I did, so I could get her pins.
Yeah. So we got Katrina from
Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. So that's our
the animated version, not the Christina Ricci Johnny Depp version.
Yeah. So anyway, after the ice cream social, we had made plans. We'd bought tickets for Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Yep.
And we were toying with the idea of walking down to In-N-Out Burger, even though the line apparently stretches for blocks. So that was our plan for the evening. We were supposed to be on our own. Well, we were about halfway through the Wax Museum, and we got a call from Abby, a very excited Abby. And she was like, I don't know what you guys are doing tonight. I know you had plans, but if you can break them, she's like, we just got invited to go see Pirates of the Caribbean at the cast and crew premiere. And we're like, and okay, I'm not the hugest Pirates fan in the world, so I'm like, oh, okay, let me check with Ben and see if he wants to go. and Ben's like, yeah, of course we're going. And I was like, oh, we're going, okay. So we'll see.
Not just for the Pirates movie, because let's face it, some of the Pirates movies weaker than others.
Yeah.
But for bragging rights that you got to go see it early.
Right, and that's, ultimately that's why we went.
That is.
But I wanted to see the inside of the El Capitan Theater, and actually on our way...
She had been thwarted on that earlier in the day.
On our way to Ghirardelli Soda Fountain, they were closing it down, and I was like, it was like 4:30, and I'm like, well, can't we just go in? I was like, I just want to take a picture of the lobby. And the girl that was closing it was like, okay, fine, just take a quick picture, you know. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, you know, we're closing it for a private event. Well, joke's on her, because we were the private event. Yeah, that was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done
Your
with that
grudge.
now.
You're done with that now?
I'm done with it now.
Okay, yeah.
So we had to go back down and meet in the party room at the soda fountain.
Yeah, they took us like through like secret tunnels that connect Ghirardelli and ABD and El Capitan, yeah.
We actually were the first ones to see the little museum that they had curated downstairs for the pirates.
It was like
props
and miniatures and things like that. It was very, very
cool. It was cool. It was
it was really
cool
cool
to see. And we were the world premiere of that prop room.
Maybe. I think some other people snuck in too.
Oh, according to the guy. Well, they weren't supposed to though. They snuck in on our party.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went up to the theater, and as gorgeous as the TCL was, oh my god, the El Capitan was drop dead amazing, beautiful.
Yes.
I can't even describe it. We'll have to post pictures because it was just so gorgeous. It was the most beautiful theater I've ever been in.
Yeah, well, what it was they got the soda fountain thing was optional, and then this was just like a little This
was like a surprise. Like we pulled some strings because we know people who know people, and we got you into this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they after we went through the exhibit, they took us upstairs, gave us a bucket of popcorn in this.
And a soda.
And a soda.
For free. We didn't pay for a ticket. We didn't pay for popcorn. We didn't pay for a soda. We just walked in, got popcorn and drinks. Like, never done that before in my life.
And then they marched us into the side of the theater and just, like, kind of pointed us to a couple of rows. And
there was an organist at a beautiful pipe organ on the stage playing Disney music for a half hour before the show. And when it was time for the movie to start, the stage opened up and he disappeared, and then the real curtain was pulled back, and the movie was. I mean, it was phenomenal.
It was really, really cool.
The only thing I will say is that I think the seats in the theater were about 2 inches more narrow than Southwest Airlines seats.
Yeah, they were pretty rough.
It was definitely the most uncomfortable I've ever been in a theater before. But oh my god, I'd do it again in a second. It was such a great experience, and the movie was good.
The movie was good. The movie brought it back.
It was actually good.
Yes, it was. It was. Maybe they just have... We had really good 3D glasses.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Telling No Tales. Better than 4. Not quite as good as 1.
Yeah.
On par with 2 and 3. So, good.
Yeah. Definitely liked it. So, afterwards we realized we still hadn't eaten dinner at that point. Our dinner had consisted of ice cream and popcorn.
Yes, we are 5.
Which if I have a criticism of this particular experience and just how the way the cards fell... Our trip was very devoid of anything that resembled a vegetable, especially like for days on end. So I'm not used to eating that way anymore, and it was definitely a little like, dude, I need a vegetable like now. So we did end up stopping to get. We stopped for a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
At least it was more.
It was substantial.
Of, like, dinner food than ice cream and popcorn.
Yeah.
Because I can't when we're traveling and we're walking around and it's hot. I can't eat a whole bunch of like heavy ice cream, chocolate, that kind of stuff. I feel sick. So that was my only that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, went back to the room. I guess we got back around midnight, and of course we started breakfast at 7 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
So
no, I think we got back a little bit before midnight.
It was like 11:30 at least.
Yeah, I mean because we stopped for the burger.
Got the burger and got back up to the room. And,
we split the burger.
Yeah, and it was plenty.
Yeah.
We went to Johnny Rockets in our little plaza there.
Yeah.
So anyway, day 3 technically.
A burger that wasn't an In-N-Out burger.
Yeah. Day 3 technically. Breakfast again at Preston's.
Yep.
A little better. I didn't get an omelet.
Yep.
And back down to the bus. Once again, meeting time was 8:15.
No, Melissa, it was not In-N-Out burger. I was denied In-N-Out burger again.
And got on the bus to go to Walt Disney Studios. Yet another location. This is our second studio now that is not open for public tours, with very notable exceptions. I believe as a D23 member, you can apply to take a tour if you're like the highest tier paid D23 member. If you are a Disney Movie Club member, there is, I think for 15,000 points, a trip to the Walt Disney Studios for 4. But good luck getting 15,000 points because you can only enter the code from each movie one time. I don't think it's even physically possible to get that many. So, but anyway.
It's quitter talk right there.
It's quitter talk, I'm sorry, but it's not possible. So at any rate, Walt Disney Studio. It was really interesting. It was less than I thought we might see.
Since we were going basically at the end of filming season, it was actually very quiet at the studio.
Right.
They were actually hosting a special event for one of their international partners, I believe. But like in terms of filming and like
a press event of some
random like tripping over movie stars or something, it was very low key that way.
Right. And we did go into we went into the animation building.
Yep. Which is not where the animators work.
Right. Because there's not really hand drawn animation being done anymore. There just isn't. They didn't preserve a lot as far as like the animators' desks and things like that because they're not open to tours. So it's kind of a catch-22. Like, because they're not a touring studio, they don't really keep stuff like that preserved, but then at the same time, like, you don't really necessarily want to get a tour there because there's nothing to see. Like, there are things to see, but not, like, there's nothing earth-shattering.
Yep.
The one thing I thought was really cool, that the sign post, that it's, if you've seen Saving Mr. Banks, you're very familiar with this, and it's some other movies too.
Dopey Drive.
It says Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue, and they say, like, special effects this way, and animation this way, and ink and paints this way. It's a prop.
It is.
It's not a real sign. It's physically there.
But it doesn't. It never really had any bearing on the studio.
Yeah,
like
the items and which direction they were pointing were absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
So
it is a prop that they happen to put up at the studio.
Right, and I expected to walk through the studio and see directional signs like this pointing to where you should go in the studio. So
that's why it's behind the magic tour.
Yeah, I was totally. I totally fell for the magic on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So that was neat, and we did go through the tunnel between the animation building and the ink and paint building, where the animators would carry the cells back and forth so as not to get them damaged, like the one day a year that it rains in California.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yep, that was cool. And we learned that when a movie was over, there's a ramp at the end of the tunnel going up.
Yeah, I forgot
and apparently
about that.
when a movie was over and they were done with it, and they had to get rid of the cells, they would actually like cover the ramp in cells, and be like animation cells, and slide down them.
Yeah, so there are a lot of original animation cells that were just completely destroyed.
Yep, or have butt prints on them.
Right, so that's kind of a bummer.
We did get to see the paint room.
Through a window.
We didn't get to go in. No.
I was actually kind of hoping, like, when they're talking up the painting, I'm like, oh, they're going to let us mix paint. We're going to get to paint in the animation cell. Like, these are things that were going through my head, like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then we didn't actually do any of that.
Yeah.
So, I was a little like, oh.
The animation building did actually have a lot of animation artwork, including, like storyboarding and stuff up on the walls
really
that
cool
we got to go through and take a look
at.
at.
It was cool to look at.
It actually had my favorite piece of art of the trip, that Pinocchio painting that you can only see if you open the door and you look down the hallway.
That was cool.
That was another thing. Apparently, a lot of the studio was designed so they could do double duty as a set. So the exterior of the buildings look like a college campus
or a hospital. If you're familiar with the Absent-Minded Professor, the Merlin Jones movies, the original Son of Flubber. The Midvale College was filmed at the Walt Disney Studios, so I need to go back and watch those. I forgot.
Yeah, and the interior was designed so it could look like a hospital ward, and they
used it as such.
Yes, and the story they told us was that when Walt brought his father Elias to the studio, he seemed really unimpressed with the whole setup.
But he was very impressed at the practical purposes for which the building could be used if the studio flopped.
Yeah, because Walt said, well, Dad, if it flops, I can always sell it to someone to use as a hospital.
And to be fair, I mean, Walt's dad, it was a good thing that he would look for those kinds of things because he failed in business multiple times. So he was definitely not used to businesses being successful.
Yeah.
So. We also saw St. Joseph's Hospital, where Walt Disney actually passed away, which is across the street from the studio. So that was a little bit of a sombering experience.
Yeah.
But interesting to see.
We went to Legends Plaza.
We did go to Legends Plaza, and we got to put our handprints in with all the stars, and I have lots of pictures from there. So.
Yes, lots of pictures. Found George Lucas.
And the Legends Plaza is right outside of the Eisner Building.
Yes.
Which is the building the iconic building you see with the dwarves holding up the pillars. I forget what they do in there.
I don't remember either.
It's not the Roy E. Disney Animation Building, because that looks different.
Yeah.
Then we went to the archives.
Well, no. We went to lunch.
No, lunch was after the archives.
Was it after the archives?
Yep.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
We walked in the archives, and this was another place. And I think my vision of what the studio was going to be like was just grander than what it really is.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair point to talk about in vacations in general, and traveling in general. There are always going to be things that are going to shock you at how amazing they are when you thought they would be nothing. And there are always going to be things that you build up to be the most amazing experience ever, and they're just going to fall short. And for me, the studio, it was great, and I'm so glad we got to go.
Yes.
But it fell short of the picture that was in my mind. I thought when they said archives, we were going to literally the building that houses the archives. And I didn't think we would probably see much there because I expected things to be, filed and cataloged. But I thought we would get to walk down the rows. Maybe they'd have one or two things they'd open up and show us. The archives are stored off-site at 26 different buildings throughout Glendale.
We didn't go to all of them.
We didn't go to all of them. We went to the
set
archive
of
showroom.
Archives.
Yeah, the archive show. And they rotate the collection. They bring some different things out. And there were some really neat things there. There were, our friend Michelle likes to look at the old Epcot stuff. In fact, she's got a page dedicated to old Epcot. So, we took some pictures of some of the cool things that they had there that were from original Epcot and sent them to her. So they did have some interesting things like that. They had some photo albums of Walt Disney interacting with people that were really good. Not probably any better than the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. That museum was, I would say, better than the archives as far as
the archive showroom. At least.
Yeah, the archive showroom. As far as looking at things that, looking at Walt Disney's life and finding out more about him and about his vision and about his ideas. This was interesting, but not earth-shattering.
You wanted the studio to be like it is in all those Disney Treasures collections.
And I think that's probably why, because I've seen those collections so many times and I have these visions of what it looked like. I wanted to physically be in those spaces, and we didn't really get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know where to ask to go because I didn't know what buildings they were in. So
we did see the outside of Walt's office.
Right.
Apparently, if you look in some of the interviews and TV shows, there's a second set of panes and in the windows, and you can see where his office is on the third floor,
and his office looks down on Roy's office.
Yeah. So
little sibling rivalry
there. And then
we did get to hold an Oscar in the
fake
archives.
A legit Oscar.
Yeah,
and
it was a real Oscar in the fake archives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got to see, they have it out in the lobby to the archives, there was the multiplane camera that they used for Snow White.
The one in One Man's Dream is a reproduction. It's not a functioning multiplane camera.
Yep,
I thought it was.
The one there is a functioning, I don't know if it functions anymore,
right,
but it was
at
one point. Yeah, it's the original.
Yeah,
so that was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, the tour was very focused on Disney history. Mm-hmm. They were very, it's very much geared toward that.
Right,
so.
If you're looking to see it for a general tour of Hollywood and LA, this is not the right tour.
Yeah.
This is definitely one where you're following Walt Disney's path from Hollywood to Disneyland, and literally and figuratively, that's the focus of the entire trip. So, it has the danger, I think, of becoming overly hero worshipy, and for the guides to become extremely wistful and saccharine about their experiences. And
Potential. That didn't happen on our trip.
I thought our guides did the most amazing job of walking the line between being excited and enthusiastic about every single thing that we saw, and at the same time not ever crossing that line to get to the point where it was just oh my gosh, seriously, I'm feeling ill from listening to the way that you're describing things. So
yes, Howard, One Man's Dream is a web of lies.
Yeah, it is.
So after the archives,
we went to the commissary.
Yeah. Very good food.
Where we finally found Mexicali.
Yes.
So we finally had Mexican food in California because that's what we were kind of looking for.
Very good. Lunch compliments of Adventures by Disney.
And we tried Walt's chili.
Well, Holly tried Walt's chili.
Which I was really excited about because there's this chili in Ohio called Skyline Chili, and to me, now I've only had Skyline Chili one time, but it was amazing. And Walt's chili tasted like Skyline Chili, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best chili ever. So sorry, that's just a little me moment.
That's fine.
Afterwards, we were given time to go into the studio store to shop.
Oh my god.
What?
I forgot the best part of Pirates.
What?
When we saw Pirates. On the way out, we saw Jerry Bruckheimer was there, and
I can't believe we forgot that.
And he gave the speech introducing it and thanking the cast and crew. And on the way out, he was there, so
we shook his hand.
We did a drive-by handshake.
We shook
he definitely was looking at us like, "Who are you people? And why are you touching me?" But he was actually really cool, and we didn't like do anything else. We were just like, "Thank you for your work. You're awesome." We got to shake his hand. Anyway, claim to fame. I've touched Jerry Bruckheimer. Anyway,
how did we forget about that?
I don't know. I've been like yakking about it all week. So anyway,
commissary studio store.
Yeah.
So we got to go into the studio store. Honestly, the front part, glorified Disney store. It was a good Disney store, but it wasn't World of Disney. It was a Disney store.
Yeah.
So similar merchandise that you would find. Now we don't have a really great Disney store anywhere near us, so it was nice to be able to have that opportunity. But definitely save your money because you can go online and order most of the things that were in that store.
Indeed.
If you do this tour, skip it. Wait for Imagineering.
Yes.
Don't spend money at the Disney Studio Store. There was a cast exclusive section. There was literally nothing.
It was very underwhelming.
There was nothing of interest in that section at that particular time. You might feel differently if you have an opportunity. So. Shopportunity. So anyway, after we shopped a little bit, we boarded the bus to go to Imagineering. I don't know what I expected from Imagineering, honestly, because it's such a mysterious place. Like it was one of the things I went into with really zero preconceived notions of what we could do there and what we could find out.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of expected the guides to appear like lowered from the ceiling on some contraption. No, I'm just kidding. But no,
we had two step-on guides, Anne and the other guy.
I don't remember.
I forget his name. He wasn't our guide.
He wasn't our guide. We split the group. We split the party.
Right.
And
Dan, maybe.
I don't know.
Who cares?
Wow.
Jeff.
He cares.
Maybe Jeff. Anyway. Doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Anne. So Anne took us to... The first thing that she took us to was a sound lab. And we put on a headset and they shut off all the lights. And then they played an audio clip. And I'm like, listening to this audio clip. It was like a guy sitting in an office listening to things happen around him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we supposed to be getting out of this? Because...
Okay, so afterward, when she explained how this worked and about how they mapped... They had like a headset that people put on to map the sound, and like they put shoulders on, so like all the sound sounds exactly like it would if it were coming to your ears.
So it's about making the sounds echo in such a, or not echo, but bounce in such a way that you can tell that you're in a 3D space, and you can tell relative to where you are, where someone else in the room is.
Yeah.
So it was actually interesting at the end, but it was like.
What am I listening to? Can I take a nap?
The guy who introduced it didn't really set it up at all. He was just like, put the headsets on and listen to the thing. Yeah. Obviously, they're not tour guides.
Yes.
Because no one takes tours of Imagineering ever. So that was kind of funny. But the tour definitely picked up from there. The next thing we did was go to the sculpture room. The sculpture room was fantastic.
Unless you have a thing about severed heads.
Yeah.
Because there were model heads for like all of the Disney animatronics
and battery. I want to make sure we're okay because we're running pretty long here. So yeah, we are running low on battery, so I'm going to plug in the auxiliary.
Okay. So anyway, the sculpture room, which Anne was kind enough to guide us through. There are no pictures allowed here, so you will never ever be able to see pictures from us about this because we can't take them. But there were a bunch of maquettes of like character designs and potential characters. There was an original, a first draft, a scale model of the partner statue, the original one. Which fun fact, or do we want to share that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in the original partner statue, Mickey is holding an ice cream cone, as opposed to like having his hand on his hip, and they said that. It made Mickey look more childlike, and the theme of it was that they are partners, they are equals. So they changed it after seeing that, which was a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm. And that was part of it. They showed us the Tramp. They had a scale model of Tramp from Lady and the Tramp, and they had one about this big, and then they had one about this big. And Anne asked us, she's like, "Where have you seen this before?" We're thinking, and she's like. It's, I forget how many feet, like 200 feet tall or something.
70 feet tall, I think.
70 feet tall, okay. And I forget. I said something that wasn't right.
Tony's.
I said Tony's Town Square, not thinking 70 feet, not 70 inches.
And someone behind me said Art of Animation. I'm like, no, that's wrong. It's at Pop Century.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if you've ever been to Pop Century and you've seen the giant, like 3-story tall tram, this was the model that he was built off of.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and they had a 3D printing of Johnny Depp's head.
Yeah.
They apparently scanned it when he was on break from one of the Pirates movies, and the stereolithography, they made a scale model, they made a full-size replica of his head without hair, which made him slightly harder to recognize.
Yeah, they asked us if we could recognize who it was, and I had no idea. Yeah. I've never seen hairless Johnny Depp before.
And they had
the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs original marble statues.
Yes.
If you've been to Disneyland, they're over to the right-hand side of the castle as you face the castle. And there was a little problem with it when they came in, that the size was a little off on Snow White.
Yeah.
So
Snow White was not the scale because, as we all know, Snow White is two dwarves tall.
And in the model, she was actually about a dwarf and a half tall.
If that.
So it didn't quite work out. So I think it was John Hench.
I think so.
Maybe John Hench. Had actually commissioned the sculptures and couldn't get the producer to redo them because it was actually his handwriting that caused the mistake. So he told Walt Disney they were a gift from some anonymous benefactor.
And then
ordered some small woodland creatures and used some forced perspective to make Snow White look the right height.
Yep, which is why Snow White is at the top of the of the thing, and
the dwarves are in the middle, and
Snow White's
then the animals are at the
Wishing
bottom.
Fountain or whatever it is,
so,
which we went to later.
Right. Then we went through to the model room where they actually were making 3D foam models for rides and attractions.
Mm-hmm.
We really couldn't tell what they were working on in the actual Imagineers where they were working. But they did take us over to see the Beauty and the Beast ride that is set to debut in Tokyo. I don't know, sometime. I don't know. I didn't listen to the year. I don't know. They might have said it.
They had the model all set up.
So that you could actually walk through the model, just like when Walt Disney was pushed through the Pirates of the Caribbean model. And that was the only time that he ever actually saw Pirates of the Caribbean. We got to walk through the new Beauty and the Beast ride. So, like I said, that's coming to Tokyo Disney. So they didn't show us anything that was coming to an American park because they don't want that stuff spread around, So, but I guess they figure nobody in Japan's watching our podcast, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, that was neat. And then the last thing that they did was to take us over to the Dish.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It was a VR system where you can actually put on a hat that recognizes where you are. They fill the room with 3D virtual reality of any theme park in the world or any Disney park in the world. So they plopped us down in the Magic Kingdom with our 3D glasses, and you could actually walk around in the Magic Kingdom. And
the room and the view for spectators shifted from the perspective of the person who's wearing the hat. Right. So it was very unsettling.
It was interesting.
It was interesting, but unsettling.
I didn't realize what was happening. I was the first one to do it because, I volunteer. I didn't realize that the hat was the thing. They were put this hat on and walk around, and I'm like, okay. But I was standing right beside the hat when we walked into the room, so I couldn't tell the difference until somebody else put the hat on, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd have walked farther because I could have gone to see things in the Magic Kingdom for fun, Yeah. So that was missed opportunity. Yeah. But.
And then they took us on a virtual Cars ride.
Oh my gosh!
I did not feel good on it.
So nauseous.
it was really cool.
Yeah. But it's a vestibular system thing. When the images are moving, but your body's sitting still, and your brain thinks that you're moving, but you're not physically, it's just. Oh, I don't know how the Imagineers sit through those ride-ons and don't get sick. Yeah. I mean, props to them, because I couldn't do it. Yeah. It was bad. I mean, it was cool, but it was bad. I closed my eyes for most of it, so that was kind of a bummer. And that was it at Imagineering. Then they sent us to the store with a 40% off coupon for any one item.
But only 30 minutes to shop.
It was very stressful.
Super stressful.
Very stressful, yeah. But we opted for jackets because
we were in California. It was 90 degrees, so you know what? Jackets.
But I mean, our goal was kind of hey, we get 40% off, so let's find the most expensive thing we can get. So, in retrospect, that was maybe or maybe not the best idea. But with 30 minutes to shop and being very stressed out, that was just what came to us.
I'm pretty pleased.
I'm happy with my jacket.
They weren't offering me life-size Millennium Falcons or anything. So I was like, yeah, jacket's
and
okay.
It was a better deal than off the pins. But these are actually some of our pins that we got from Imagineering. It's the Mickey Mouse name tag and the Year of the Rooster pin. And that's the e-ticket. That actually has a calendar in it. It's an April calendar, which is my birthday.
And then there's the... oh, no, this is from Studio
That's from
Stores.
Studios. Yeah,
this is from the Studio Stores. That's the... Yeah.
And then on the other side are some of the soda fountain pins. I think my Alice fell down.
Oh, no.
The Frollo is from a limited edition set, and the King Candy is one of the rack pins, and so is the Alice. So those are just some of the pins that were available to us by doing this adventure that we wouldn't have been able to get to otherwise, except for paying extraordinary amounts of money on eBay. So it was nice to have that opportunity. And then we took the California Highway Experience trip.
So we sat in traffic for about...
for 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
For what should be a 45-minute trip.
Yep.
But
there were snacks, and there were movies.
Snacks and movies, and drinks, and we were well taken care of.
And conversation with good people.
Right.
It was like, sitting in traffic stinks.
Yeah.
But, it was sitting in traffic Disney style, so it wasn't all that bad.
Yeah.
And everyone was frustrated with it. The bus driver was frustrated with it. Our tour guide Michael was frustrated with it.
Because we were actually supposed to have dinner in Disneyland at 6:00. We actually ended up getting to Disneyland at 6:45.
Yeah, so they had to push it back a
little bit. But it actually still worked out fine because the only things we had planned for dinner for that night were dinner and the Main Street Electrical Parade. We were able to do both of those things easily.
Yep.
So it really wasn't an issue. It was less comfortable. We had less time at dinner than we would have otherwise. So.
Yep.
So anyway, we arrived at Disneyland Hotel. This is the Tuesday. We started Sunday. This is now day 3 of our trip. And I know we're running super late, but thanks for hanging out with us because
everyone who can.
We really want to do this one shot and be done. So we'll keep going if you'll keep listening. Where were we? Disneyland Hotel, we checked in. Once again, Disneyland Hotel does not have balconies except for the mega suites upstairs. Yes. And I think I priced those out for somebody one time and they were like $5,000 a night.
Now, this is a departure because we were actually supposed to stay at the Grand Californian originally.
Right.
But it is under construction and they're doing
they changed it because they felt the experience would be downgraded because of the construction.
Right.
So,
that's a perfectly...
They changed it for the entire year. So every Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic that's offered this year will stay at the Disneyland Hotel instead of the Grand Californian.
Yep.
So it was a matter of, I think during some of the time, the lobby's going to be torn up or was going to be torn. Yeah, because the lobby still looks the same.
Yep.
So I think the lobby's going to be torn up later in the year, and they didn't want any of that to mar anybody's trip. So just so that we didn't get caught up in it accidentally, they just moved us to Disneyland, which... I was actually fine with because we've stayed at Grand Californian. Ben and I have stayed twice, and I stayed once on an agent trip last year. And it's a beautiful hotel, and I love it there. And I love our favorite cast member, Linda, works there. Hi, Linda. And so it's beautiful. We love going there. But I really wanted to try Disneyland Hotel for no other reason than they have the coolest monorail water slide ever. And I really wanted to go down the water slide.
And I wasn't upset because I don't care where I sleep.
Yeah. But it was really cute. There was a Mickey hand holding the light fixtures in the bathroom.
The sconces are Mickey hands. It's actually a little creepy.
There were hidden Mickeys on the faucets in the shower and on the sink. And my favorite thing of all is the Goodnight Kiss headboard. There's a button on the lamp, and if you've had an opportunity to do the Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour and go to the Dream Suite, you know about the Goodnight Kiss. And they do it on the castle every night at Magic Kingdom, but there are switches in each room that trigger different effects in an otherwise very ordinary-looking space.
No, not ordinary-looking space.
Otherwise, a very luxurious-looking space, but it doesn't look like there's anything really spectacular that's going to happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, things do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So at the Disneyland Hotel, it's when you flip the switch, it plays "When You Wish Upon a Star," and the fireworks light up over the headboard.
Yes.
Pretty similar to the royal rooms at Port Orleans Riverside.
Yep.
So you can experience that at Magic Kingdom or Walt Disney World also. The view was great. We had a pool view, so I got to look at that monorail slide and be really excited about doing it later in the week. I don't have much else to say about the room. I don't think it was actually kind of small.
Yep.
But we had a king room, and I've been in the rooms that are 2 queens, and they're standard hotel room size. There's nothing skimpy about them at all. I think we had a nicer closet than the rooms with the 2 queens, so that's probably the trade-off.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Dinner, our first night at Disneyland, was at the Blue Sky Suite, which is in... Oh, I should mention, our room was in the Adventure Tower, which at first we were not upset about, but I felt like the Fantasy Tower was the place to be. But it turns out the Adventure Tower is actually a little bit closer to the Downtown Disney entrance, so it was really a little bit more convenient in the morning.
Yep.
The Fantasy Tower is where the Blue Sky Suite was.
Yep.
And it's in the penthouse area of the hotel, and it's actually where the owners of the hotel used to live. Walt Disney actually asked his friend, "Hey, I'm building this park over here. I don't have time to deal with the hotel. Can you build one?" So, a friend of Walt Disney's built the hotel, and it was the Disneyland Hotel, but Disney didn't own it until not too long ago.
2001?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure
Maybe.
when the other towers were built.
I
I've glossed over all those details. So anyway, there were other towers built at some point, either during Disney's ownership or during the other guy's ownership. Now there are 3 towers.
Yep. Fantasy Tower has your, you can watch last week's podcast, but the Fantasy Tower has the
has everything.
hotel check-in, valet drop-off,
Right.
and it
The
has
restaurants,
the store.
shops,
Yeah.
The Bell Services is in front of Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you come into Disneyland Hotel.
Yep.
So anyway, in the Blue Sky Suite, it was there were 3 main rooms that we had as dining rooms, and it was all converted to be a dining venue. It's not it's not really a penthouse anymore.
There were like 2 sitting rooms, and then
and then there was
actual
an open
dining
air,
room.
right? A glassed-in open air porch type of situation, and the menu was a taste of Disneyland. Once again, I felt like the food here needs a little bit of work. Apparently, this is something new that they're trying. And the venue is fantastic. I think the venue needs to stay the same, but the food definitely needs to upgrade a little bit.
Yeah, there were corn dogs and...
Yeah, Caesar salad and shrimp and grits. The barbecue shrimp and grits were fantastic. They were by far my favorite thing. Plaza fried chicken, which was great fried chicken. I love it. I don't think the fried chicken we had was from the Plaza because it didn't taste the same, and we had just had it.
Sweet.
Yeah, we had just had it 3 days earlier. So I mean, I know what that chicken tastes like. It's my favorite chicken, and that wasn't it. Then they had brownies, cake pops, and Rice Krispie treats for dessert. And I was like, "Where are the churros? You can't walk 10 feet without hitting a churro cart in Disneyland. Why are there no churros at the thing? Like, it just didn't make sense. I feel like mint juleps would have been a good thing. Like, that's an iconic Disneyland drink.
Ice cream
beignets. I mean, I feel like they had a lot of other options besides, like, cake pops to me don't really shout Disneyland. So I think some tweaking on the menu would make that experience really exceptional.
Yeah, the food was good, but like Holly's saying, the experience could stand to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah. So
good idea.
Right. 1.5 thumbs up. And after that, we went to our private viewing area for Main Street Electrical Parade.
If you've been to Disney World in the
last
past
20 years,
20 years, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Same parade, pretty much
Same
exactly.
parade, except it says Disneyland on the front, and Tinkerbell is not on the lead float. She has her own float. So
that's what was different about it.
Yeah, because her little it used to be that Tinkerbell hit the little swooshy thing, and that was supposed to power the Main Street Electrical Parade, but now she's like halfway back the parade.
Yeah,
so.
We had a very good viewing area for it.
Yeah.
It was great.
And it was awesome to be able to, like, one of my favorite things, I love parades. I hate sitting and waiting for them for 3 hours. Being able to walk up, grab a parade spot 10 minutes before it started, and it
be
was
front and
row,
center.
Fantastic.
Pretty solid.
Fabulous.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yep.
That was really it for organized activities, but I mean, by that point it was 9 o'clock, and we'd been going since 7 in the morning. We did get a fast pass.
For Star Tours?
I think it was it was for whatever we wanted.
Okay.
And we had missed our Star Tours fast pass
That's
earlier
what it
in the
was.
weekend, so we opted for Star Tours. Ben didn't feel the greatest on that one, and honestly, I wasn't really loving life at that particular ride either. So, yeah, I don't know. Star Tours might start to kind of fall off our list of things that are our favorite things to do. So, but we rode it. That was our last ride for the night.
And then we went and took my favorite ride ever, sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping is good.
Sleeping is good.
On to day 4.
Yes.
Yeah. Once again, thanks for hanging in with us.
Yes,
if
thank
anybody's
you.
still there, hopefully you are.
Bueller.
And day 4 was our actual Disneyland Park day. So this was the day that we explored how Walt Disney came to create this place.
Yep.
and very interesting tour. We got to do an opening day attraction and an attraction that was reimagined specifically for the 1983 overhaul of Fantasyland.
Yep.
That would be Peter Pan's Flight for opening day and Pinocchio for reimagining.
Yep. And if you ever wait in line for Peter Pan's Flight, it is almost worth the price of admission just to be able to walk onto that.
Yeah.
So it started out with going in super early in the morning.
I missed like 2 things.
To see an empty Main Street USA and Castle Hop. Well, almost empty.
Turns out there were wedding photos.
There were wedding photos happening. Also, we were early enough that they said, "Listen, if there are any delivery trucks, please do not take pictures of them." As a way to help preserve the magic. Right. So, and, we play along with the magic, we interact with our characters, we follow the rules, and most of the time. And if they ask us not to do something, we don't try and rock the boat. So, but yeah, like, pretty much empty, except for the pumpkin coach and the bride and groom, who ended up dancing in Fantasyland, I think.
Yeah.
Later,
and we got some fantastic pictures. We think we haven't been able to see them yet because it does take up to 10 business days. Our guides were taking pictures nonstop throughout this trip.
They both had they weren't like DSLR cameras, but they had legit separate non-phone cameras, and they were taking pictures all the time to the point where when we were at the Dolby Theater, Abby went down and got a picture of all of us looking over the balcony by laying down and taking a picture.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, so they were really awesome about documenting everything.
I can't wait to see those pictures. They gave us kind of a sneak preview.
We think what we've seen so far is awesome.
They gave us a sneak preview and let us. They airdropped a couple to us at dinner on our last night, but we haven't seen the real McCoy. I just checked today and they're not up yet.
We were then met by the Disneyland ambassador,
which is a program that started. Nope. Forget her name.
Okay. Are you sure? Because wasn't someone making an Alexa joke the whole time?
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me, but we'll look it up. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Disneyland Ambassador Program started with Disneyland's 10 Centennial. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that how you say that word? Okay. So, 1965, a lady by the name of Julie Ream, I say lady, she was probably like 20, was the first Disneyland ambassador, and she was in charge of, like, when they would go out to do public shoots and things, she would dress in her tour guide ensemble and go represent Disneyland.
Yep. So, and Michael had actually put in a movie, Michael and Abby. Michael was sitting next to us, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Holly's checking the technical difficulties podcast. How are we doing?
We're still good.
We're still good.
Yep, I just want to make sure the battery was still...
So Michael would put that movie on in the bus while we were having the California traffic experience, so we had seen that, a documentary about that, I'm sorry.
And this is actually Julie Ream.
Julie Ream.
This is actually one of my favorite documentaries. Like, I own a copy of it and I watch it frequently. So, I was really excited to see this, and I was really excited that they decided to pull this particular story out and share it with everybody, because I think it's really just fun, and there's some cool shots of some very famous Imagineers working behind the scenes, and it's a great film.
Yeah. We got to meet the Disneyland ambassador. She was very nice, and then after some pictures in front of the castle and the fountain, we went to
the Plaza Inn.
To the Plaza Inn for breakfast, character breakfast.
There were, count them, 11 characters at the character breakfast.
And they were characters you don't see all the time.
It was Fairy Godmother, Captain Hook, Pinocchio, Geppetto, Max, Goofy's son, Chip, Dale,
Eeyore,
Tigger, Pooh,
Rafiki.
11.
11. And
usually you get 4. It was like 3 character meals.
And all but Rafiki and Dale made it to our table. We tracked them down separately, but it was we were
eating breakfast pretty quickly because they wanted to get us back out in the park to do some more attractions before it got crowded. So, it was pretty cool because as we were sitting in the plaza, that's when we got to watch the crowd come in Main Street. And unfortunately, I wasn't really clued into it at that point because I was focusing on breakfast. I was really hungry by then. We'd been eating at 7, and all of a sudden it's 9, and we're just eating breakfast.
Yeah, it was bad.
I was hungry.
It wasn't bad. It was just you were hungry.
Yeah. They do not have the fried chicken at breakfast at the plaza, but they did have a nice. Breakfast spread. It was a good array of options. So, I was very pleased with breakfast there. I would book the plaza breakfast, like, hands down in a second.
Yeah, it is the equivalent to the Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I would say for breakfast. It's. I think my favorite character meal.
In terms of character interaction or food?
As a complete package.
Okay.
I think it's my favorite. I really like Storytellers.
Storytellers was good.
But at Disneyland, there are 5 character meals, and I think the Plaza is probably... It definitely is the most characters. Like, there are more characters at the Plaza than there are at the 3 resort meals combined. Yeah, so Plaza Inn, definitely.
Yep.
Breakfast. Then we went to Peter Pan and Pinocchio.
Yes.
And then we also got walked onto the Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, and into the Tiki Room.
Yes.
And at the Tiki
Free
Room,
Dole Whip!
Yeah, Ben got a free Dole Whip. I don't care for Dole Whip, so I skipped that, but I know I should have gotten one for you. I'm sorry. Then Michael actually they held the next Tiki Room presentation so that we could see one of the animatronic flowers up close.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was neat.
I liked that a lot.
And apparently the Tiki Room was originally supposed to be a restaurant.
Yes, it was actually supposed to be at the Plaza.
Yeah.
And they have birds in cages in the Plaza, which I think is really cool because it's like an homage to the tiki birds that were supposed to be there.
Yeah, but apparently people were very uncomfortable with the idea of birds sitting right over them while they were eating, even if they were fake.
Because they couldn't, they were so realistic for 1955 that people didn't realize they were mechanical birds. Yeah. So they thought that, oh my gosh, this bird is sitting right over my head. This is terrible.
This bird is going to poop on me.
Yeah. So, after... Did we split at that point, or did we break for lunch? What did we do for lunch that day?
No, we did not.
We quick serviced for lunch.
They gave us a coupon. They gave us a voucher for lunch.
Right.
We did the apartment first.
Okay. I totally don't remember where we had lunch that day. Well, we have a minute to think about it because we did the apartment. So we split into 2 groups as is logical because Walt's apartment is about 500 square feet. So one group went to see Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which is intrinsically tied to Walt's childhood and his affinity for Abraham Lincoln, and the other group went to the apartment.
And then we switched.
We were the second group in the apartment, so which
very...
is good because the step-on guide for the apartment was Philip, who was actually our Walk in Walt's Footsteps guide 2 years ago. So that was actually pretty cool. But it was his first day ever giving the tour of Walt's apartment, so I'm glad he got to practice on the other group.
So yeah, we got to see, we didn't get to see where they slept because it was all folded away as couches.
Right. Yeah, so in Walt's apartment, there's basically, I guess you could call it a great room, but it's probably about 250 square feet.
Yep.
Maybe 300. It has a kitchenette, like a bar-type kitchen, if you can call it a kitchen. It has a mini fridge, and it has a bar sink and a couple of cabinets. So it's definitely not a place where you would live, but it's great for staying overnight. In the living room, there are 2 futon couches on either wall, and they open up into beds. So and they said that Walt and Lily would each take one, and then the grandkids would sleep on the floor. So it's kind of cute. Think here you are, Walt Disney and your grandkids are slumming it on the floor of your apartment at Disneyland. That's rough.
Yep. Wait, did we do the carousel too?
We did do the carousel. Yeah.
Okay, before this. Okay.
Sorry, we missed that. We walked on the carousel. So that's 6 rides that we walked on.
Yep.
Then the only other room in the apartment is a bathroom, and then there's a terrace, which we couldn't go out to the terrace because of the construction. They're putting in better handicap accessibility for the apartment. So the apartment was actually almost removed from the tour this year, for which I would have probably been absolutely irate. Because,
there would have been some table flipping.
Yeah, because that was when we took the Walk on Walt's Footsteps tour, they had recently taken the apartment off of that tour. If we had then booked another tour and they took the apartment off, I would have probably been pretty upset. But fortunately, they're rectifying the handicap accessibility situation without keeping people from experiencing the apartment. So I felt happy about that. But the bathroom, it's just an interesting feature. There are 4 shower heads in the shower, so I guess that you could get 4 times as clean.
No, it was so that everyone would have a shower head at their proper height.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it was because you've got the grandkids coming.
Oh, I thought it was just for.
No, I think it was.
I thought it was for additional water pressure and power.
I don't know. I thought it was about that, but
yeah, I thought they all worked simultaneously. Oh yeah, okay, let's go. They had, things like Walt had a grilled cheese maker, and it was still sitting on the counter with
but no
frayed cord and all.
Yeah, no one was brave enough to plug it in.
Everybody's terrified.
There was still beer in the fridge.
There was a juicer that some of the guys that worked at the one breakfast spot on Main Street had bought for Walt because he kept coming over and using their juicer and making a mess. So they bought him one for his apartment. But he liked theirs better, and he kept using it.
Yep.
Yeah, the fridge was stocked. Yeah, it's just...
Not with original stuff, but just with stuff
that
Walt
would have
liked.
drunk. But they said that most of that stuff's been in there for like 5 years. So
or 10 years even, I think,
like
yeah.
That. Yeah, so it's expired.
But,
yeah, so it's a really cool space. The biggest feature about the apartment is the lamp in the window that is on 24/7. As though to say that Walt is still watching over the park and watching over his guests, and helping to ensure that everyone has a magical experience.
Yep.
So we did get.
That's right. Disneyland's haunted.
Yeah. We did get a photo in the apartment. I mean, you can't take photos of anything, but they do a group photo in front of the window.
And we got
an individual. So we haven't seen those yet, but hopefully they turned out nice.
Yes. Can't be too nice.
And then after.
Then we broke.
Right.
So that we could go to lunch. They gave us like a $20 per person voucher to go to lunch.
We went to Red Rose Tavern.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that was the cauliflower sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
But first, we had a meet and greet.
Yes.
At Two Town.
Yes, we went to Two Town, and this was an optional activity.
Optional activity.
And we got a walk-in meet and greet with Mickey Mouse instead of standing in the 50-minute line to get in. So that was pretty nice. And
then we went to lunch at Red Rose.
Went to lunch right after that? We didn't ride anything first?
Wait, no, yes we did.
You went to the Matterhorn first.
I went on the Matterhorn with our new friend Kathy.
Right, so we walked around with Kathy and Kevin from our group. And because Kathy wanted to ride the Matterhorn and Kevin really had no interest. And I thought I was going to ride the Matterhorn, and then when we got close to it, I was like, nope, I'm out. Dude, it looked like a cave.
I know.
Cave is a 4-letter word.
I know. I've reserved the right to mock you. I completely understand your decision not to go.
Yeah, so I ditched out and hung out with Kevin for the next 40 seconds while Ben and Kathy rode the ride.
Yep.
And then we had lunch at Red Rose Tavern. What did you have there? Did you have a burger?
No, I got the flatbread, the mozzarella and tomato
flatbread,
right. Because I wanted something light
good.
Because we were having a heavy dinner.
We were having a dinner later, yeah. I had a cauliflower sandwich that was amazing.
Yep.
I would eat there every time we go to the park.
Sandwich without meat. It's
really,
not really
really
a sandwich.
So anyway, then we palled around with Kathy and Kevin, and Abby and Michael had given us 5 fast passes each.
Yes.
So
good for any ride
in the park.
with a fast pass, except Radiator Springs Racers.
Right. So we could have hopped over to California Adventure and used them there, but since we were having dinner in Disneyland Park, we didn't really want to leave the park.
They had given us a specific Star Tours fast pass, and then 5 free ones as well.
Right.
So we rode Star Tours.
So we did 6.
We rode Hyperspace Mountain. My God, it was terrifying.
It was cool. I like Hyperspace Mountain.
Yeah, terrifying. And then what else did we do? Haunted Mansion?
Use any of our... Yeah, we ended up using ours for Haunted Mansion. You can't use it on Pirates.
We'd already gone on Pirates anyway.
Like all the rides that we like, really, you can't fast pass.
Yeah.
So we ended up giving them to the one couple we met at dinner.
Yeah.
And hopefully making their day. I hope they enjoyed them.
Yeah.
So we did also have an afternoon parade viewing.
Yes.
We had a reserve spot for that.
Again, reserve spot, same reserve spot, 4:30 parade. We got to roll in at 4:15.
Right.
Had our spot saved.
Right. And the only reason we needed to be 15 minutes early is because Michael had gone down to Red Rose Tavern and gotten us each a gray stuff cupcake.
Yep.
Which is not like the gray stuff at Walt Disney World. It's a red velvet cupcake covered with the gray stuff on a lemony cookie.
Yep. And we got to eat it while watching the parade.
In front of children. Oh.
I was going to say that, but I was like, oh, no, we can't do that.
No.
But, yes, they were all staring at our delicious cupcakes.
So, yeah, after the parade, we were kind of on our own for the rest of the day, which was nice at that point. I mean, honestly, at that point, I was ready to kind of, like, okay, kick back, let's go, people watch, or we had dinner reservations at Riverbell Terrace, which we had made on our own. But because our meal voucher for lunch had just about covered, we had 2 meal vouchers, and one of them had covered our lunch, we used the other one towards our dinner. So that was really nice to get, a surprise $20 off at dinner time.
Yep.
And then that was pretty much, I think we went back to the room after dinner.
Yeah,
I think we were, because we knew we had the weekend, and we wanted to make sure that we were, well rested and refreshed for the next day because we still had an entire day at California Adventure.
Yep.
So, headed back. And then day 5.
Last full day.
Last full day already. You guys are probably like, oh my god, are you ever going to be done?
Stop talking.
So, last full day, California Adventure.
This is probably
this might
actually
be
the highlight.
of the trip. Yeah. Honestly, it didn't seem like it at the time.
Here's the deal. If you know anything about Disneyland, you know that it's really small.
Right.
And there is no backstage.
Everything is in front of you because it has to be.
Yeah.
So
California Adventure, when they built that park, they got to put in some backstage stuff, and we got to go see it. It was awesome. We started out with breakfast at Goofy's Kitchen.
Goofy's Kitchen was that day,
which was actually very good. It was actually a brunch. Yeah.
Food wise, that was probably my favorite breakfast of the trip for food.
It was good. It was really
selection.
Good. Yeah.
Because it was actually brunch at Goofy's Kitchen. And they had, they had traditional eggs and bacon and Mickey waffles and sausage and, normal breakfast stuff.
Delicious.
Then they had a fruit bar, which wasn't as extensive as you would hope in California, but it was good. And then they had a pizza station where they had mac and cheese pizza, peanut butter and jelly pizza, apple crumb pizza, s'mores pizza, anything that you could think to put on a pizza crust. And then 5 more. If
it sounds like a kid's breakfast on a pizza, they had it.
Yeah. So of course we tried those. Yeah. I thought they were good.
They were good.
I liked the peanut butter and jelly. I didn't try this. I didn't try that many of them because I was like, I know those are things. If I eat too many of that, I'm not gonna feel good today. Yeah. So I did kind of back off on that. But they also had a cakes and pastries bar where they had different kinds of cakes. They had the dirt pudding with the gummy worms in it. They had monkey bread. They had bread pudding. They had, anything and everything to fatten you up was on that buffet.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Really delicious. Yeah. So, definitely the best for variety.
Yep.
Character interactions there.
A little brief.
Yeah. Not as good with the characters there as the other character meals that we had, except for PCH Girl.
Yes.
So... Yeah, I would definitely go to Goofy's Kitchen. I'd go for the food.
Yeah.
If I was going for characters, I'd go to the plaza.
Also, according to our server at Steakhouse 55, that is where all of the celebrities go.
Like Angelina Jolie was there like the day after us.
Yeah. Because for their kids.
Yeah.
So, after that, we were taken to California Adventure.
Woo!
We had to go through bag check twice.
Yeah, which was weird. Because we used the private entrance in the Grand Californian.
Yeah.
Which weird, they let us in there. Well, I guess they can let us into the hotel without our resort key.
Yeah. Well, okay. Also, no, because we came in through downtown Disney.
Right.
So we'd already been through security.
They let us into the hotel that direction, and nobody ever checks your card going in that way. That's interesting.
Well, because you've already been through security.
Oh, that's a good point.
If you're already in there, you've been through security.
You're right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we went through the Grand Californian to the backdoor entrance to
California Adventure.
Thank you. Name of park.
Park. We've been talking for 90
talking
minutes.
For 2 hours. I'm so tired.
Is it 90? Is it 2 hours? Already?
Almost.
Oh God.
Well, we will wrap it up in under 2 hours. We promise. We're almost done. So anyway, we went in the back door through California Adventure, and honestly, the Grand Californian is an excellent resort. Love it there. It's beautiful. It has great rooms. It has great views from the rooms. The reason to stay there is that back door to California Adventure. Because
true story. It's
just so nice to be able to just amble down to breakfast at Storyteller's Cafe and wander into the park.
Yep.
Fabulous. Do it. But that being said, the only reason that we were able to use this backdoor entrance really was because we were on an Adventures by Disney.
They limited to California Adventure hotel guests or Grand Californian hotel guests
to go through that park entrance because they only have 2 bag check and metal detector stations there and 4 turnstiles. So they don't want that backing up with like everybody and their brother coming in off the street.
Yep.
Which
as we found out later.
Right. It used to. So it's a good idea. It ended up there are situations where it's really not practical for that to happen, and we ended up caught in one later in the week, and it was
anyway.
Whatever.
Back to Disney. Adventures by Disney.
Adventures by Disney. So California Adventure, yay! This is a really cool park. I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's separated into different
lands
that reflect parts of California. So there's Hollywoodland, there's Grizzly Peak that has more of the sequoia, giant redwood
The
feel.
California,
California wilderness
Yeah.
type of feel, which is actually backs directly to the Grand Californian Hotel, which kind of makes it perfect. There's the Paradise Pier section that highlights the beaches. There's the Pacific Wharf next to the Paradise Pier that gives kind of the fishing industry. And then there's Cars Land and Bugs Land. They don't really fit, but
Cars
but
Land
they're
is
cool.
the desert.
Route 66?
Yeah, Route 66,
Yeah, okay.
the desert, stuff like
Bugs,
that, yeah.
Bugs Land?
There are bugs in California.
We needed kitty rides.
Yeah.
That was what a Bugs
much.
Land's about.
Although Bugs Land,
Um,
second best themed land there.
yeah, and then there's the random Wine Country Trattoria restaurant that isn't really part of a land, but it's kind of bordering Bugs Land, Cars Land, and Paradise Pier. I don't know. It's cool. You know. It remains one of the few restaurants we haven't eaten at a Disneyland,
Yes.
actually. What did we go? We went to Carthay Circle first.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we took a tour of Carthay Circle, and at the time I'm thinking, why are we touring Carthay Circle now? Because we're having dinner here tonight. So why wouldn't we just tour the restaurant when we have dinner? This seems like we're going to do a lot of backtracking. Except that after the nice fluffy tour of Carthay Circle, they took us over to the door that's right beside the Carthay Circle entrance, which is a little place known as 1901. And it's the sister lounge to Club 33 in Disneyland Park.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with Club 33, it's the club that all the celebrities and the wealthy people in Hollywood join,
Super exclusive.
so that they can go have a meal at Disney without tourists seeing them and flocking all over them. So
Yes.
we're talking like $10,000 to $15,000 a year in membership plus an initiation fee, and then you still have to buy your dinner when you go there. So,
If not more. We've never actually heard a concrete number from a cast member.
but it's
so
somewhere around there.
It's probably somewhere.
I mean,
around
we're talking people like I think Tom Hanks has a membership, Johnny Depp has a membership.
Yep.
I don't. But
And
anyway,
you never will.
they never. They will not take people into the club anymore because they used to take tour groups into the lobby. The members got mad because nobody's supposed to be in there without having paid the membership fee, and regardless of how much you spend on your tour, they don't care. They want you out of their club. So they're not being jerks about it. They just, if I paid that much money to belong to something that exclusive, I wouldn't want people taking pictures in my lobby either. I think it's just kind of a courteousness thing. However, 1901 is not open during the day. So we were able to get in there without anybody caring.
Yep.
And it's kind of just like so you're in California Adventure Park right now and you want someplace to go that's private? Over here. Still a very cool space.
Very cool, very cool lounge area. A lot of, again, like that. Everything out there is steeped in Disney history.
Right. And there we were able to take lots of pictures, which was cool.
Yep.
They have a place where Walt's shadow walks by on the wall every now and then, which is kind of neat. And the chairs that are actually at the bar look like director's chairs, and they have Walt, Lily, and Roy and Edna's names on them. Edna's Roy's wife, by the way.
Yeah.
It was just a cool space to hang out in for a little bit. It felt VIP to be in there, I guess.
It did.
So that was pretty neat. After that, we went to Soarin'. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So we went over and we rode Soarin' as a walk-on.
Yep.
We walked on from backstage. So we walked backstage with Trent, our step-on guide, and he told us a little bit about the attraction. And a lot of those things you might already know if you know anything about Disney history or listen to things about attractions. That the attraction was actually built. The concept for it was built using an erector set because the Imagineers couldn't figure out how to get people to be on different levels at the same time and experience some sort of motion. So one of the Imagineers did that in his free time, and
we actually saw a replica of the erector set model later.
Right. Yeah, so that was cool. After we rode the ride, they walked us around behind the screen, and the screen has a blue light cast on it, so it looks flat, but when you walk behind it, it's actually a dome. And it's almost like, duh, it had to be a dome, because how else could they make the pictures do what they do? But still, when you actually realize, you're like, oh, alright, cool. They actually let us touch the back of the screen, which it never in my wildest dreams occurred to me that that's a thing you could do, because I thought it must be very fragile, we better not breathe near it.
Nope.
No. Very hardy. It has a metal infrastructure, so if you drop a flip-flop on it, it's not going to bust through the screen. Yep. And then the actual screen itself feels like a canvas.
Yep. And then they turned it on. We got to watch Soarin' from behind the screen.
And you could only see, like, bits of it because it's projecting on the screen in front of you. Like, it's not projecting for you.
Some of it leaked through onto the wall behind us,
yeah,
but it was...
But you couldn't really tell where you were from the wall during most of it. But what was cool is that you could look through the screen and you could see the people.
Uh-huh.
Which was awesome. And you could see the ride vehicles, and they did tell us about the fact that there are times during Soarin' that you feel like the ride vehicle is swaying side to side or turning. It doesn't turn.
It doesn't turn.
It only tilts.
Yep.
And goes up and down. And literally everything else is done with the motion of the camera. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious? I thought for sure it was twisting as we were up there, but they said, nope, up and down.
And we're going to go ahead and spread the word on behalf of Soarin' employees everywhere. They are aware of the fisheyeing on the Eiffel Tower, and they are working to fix it.
Yeah. So, while we were backstage at Soarin', we got to see where the hidden Mickeys are in this version. There are 3. Go find them. There's also allegedly a hidden Captain Jack Sparrow walking on the beach in the Fiji Island scene. We watched it 2 more times after that, and we could not identify that person as Captain Jack Sparrow. So I think you have to be like maybe in the far right-hand section on the 3rd row to have a shot at actually recognizing that that's who it is, because it's too blurry from everywhere else.
Yep.
They also had the scent bead containers, so we got to like without the film to back it up, actually smell the roses, grass, and what's the other scene? Shoot. Ocean.
Yeah.
And they also had some of the orange scent beads from the orange groves left over, so we got just a little...
You got your hit.
Got a little hit of orange grove. After Soarin', we went to Radiator Springs Racers.
Yeah, no.
We did something before that. We broke for lunch, I think.
Yeah, we had lunch.
Yeah, because we had Smoke Jumpers Grill as an option. And
yeah, did we do Soarin' first and then do Carthay Circle 1901 because we met back at the fountain, didn't we?
We met back at the fountain for dinner.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Or before dinner. Yeah, I don't know. After lunch, we met back at the fountain.
Okay.
I think. I forget what order these things were in. But our other big deal thing in...
Disney California Adventure.
It's getting late.
It's getting late.
Was to go to Cars Land and see Backstage at Radiator Springs Racers.
So we got to go to the maintenance bay for the cars.
Yeah. Now this sounds like, oh wow, okay, you got to see the cars being torn apart. We got to see the cars being torn apart.
So just so you know, every one of those cars,
$1 million.
Yeah.
36 cars ordered for the track. That's $36 million in ride vehicles sitting on that track.
Yep.
Every 2 years, every car has to come off. So they do it in a rotation so that they don't mess up the ride and have to take it down for like 6 months at a time. But every 2 years, each car has to come off and be completely rebuilt from ground zero. They run about 100,000 miles in 2 years. That's 48,000 laps per year. And rebuilding takes 4 months?
Something like that, yeah.
So in order to keep them on schedule, they've got a tight rotation.
Yeah, when they actually started up, they were behind schedule. So, and apparently, like, what they do is Soarin' and Radiator Springs Racers and Test Track are very, very close to being the same ride. So, but because of the different environments, what happens is they import like all of the technology and the updates from Test Track, and then they find out why it doesn't work on their track.
And then they fix it.
And then they fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting to see all the, like, they've got, like, they call them Jiffy Bays because that's where they work on the cars, like Jiffy Lube. They've got a tracking system that tracks every single car
and every single animatronic that's in the ride show, so that they can see. They know right away if something's malfunctioning. So if you are on Radiator Springs Racers and you go up to the attendant afterwards and you're like, "Oh man, my ride was ruined because Mater's not working out in the ride." They'll know right away if you're lying or not. So don't even try to pull that as getting a free re-ride.
Yep. So yeah, we got to see one with we got to see one with the engine back out of it, a car with the engine out of it. They were, our guide was very knowledgeable about the cars. Very cool.
Yeah. Yep. Good experience.
Yep.
So then we walked back around and actually got on Radiator Springs Racers.
Yep.
Which is it's one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. So I was definitely excited that we got to ride it. And then did they gave us a fast pass for Radiator Springs also?
Yes.
I think they gave us one for Radiator Springs specifically so we could get back. Yeah, because we went right away again. That was actually the end of our tour until we were going to meet up for dinner. So that was probably about 2 o'clock-ish.
Yeah. Did we ride Toy Story as a group? No.
We did. That was our first thing because it was Dory was our step-on guide for Disneyland and California Adventure. And that was her attraction. So they took us there first.
Okay, that's what it was. I knew we were missing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, we went other places. Why did this take so much time?
Sorry, guys. We still have vacation brain.
Yeah. So anyway, we were on our own then with our Radiator Springs Racers Fast Pass, plus 5 other Fast Passes. So once again, we've had a total of 12 Fast Passes for free that we didn't have to pull for machines and easy. And they were anytime, anywhere. So once again, could use them for any ride. I think we did Toy Story twice and Soarin' twice, and ended up with one extra set that we probably gave to somebody that looked like they wanted a Fast Pass.
Yep.
So, we gave them to the girl we met in the Grand Californian lobby while we were waiting for dinner. There was this group of early 20-somethings that we met in the Grand Californian lobby.
They were pin people.
When we were getting ready for dinner, and they had all their pins with them. And I was like, oh, do you mind if I look? I was like, I don't have any traders with me because they were back in the room, and I just wasn't paying attention because we were on the tour. And I was looking through, and I was like, oh, I love the little Peter Pan mittens pin with they had little bobbies on them from the Grand Californian. And, no, it was Grand Floridian, sorry.
Yep.
And she was like, do you want it? You can have it. And I was like, what? Like, you're going to give me a pin?
A pin person who gives you a pin.
That is just like, wow, that's the nicest thing ever.
Yeah, that is the second rarest thing I saw while we were with Adventures by Disney. The other one was a BMW driver using their turn signal.
It's funny. So I took the pin, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, we still have the 2 Fast Passes. So I was like, let me give you these in exchange because thank you so much. Like, that's just the nicest thing. And here
they were there on they were there on a day trip, so they were like chilling in the Grand Californian lobby to get out of the California sun.
Right. So I was like, I hope they you can use them and they make your day nice. So so I did have something to trade. It just wasn't a pin. And then Abby and Michael had done a little slideshow for us to thank us for coming on the adventure and show us kind of a preview of our pictures.
Yep.
Which looks so super cute. I'm
really
excited.
They do.
And then we left for dinner at Carthay Circle. We thought there was a chance at this point that they were taking us to the Guardians of the Galaxy media preview because it's literally right beside Carthay Circle, like the entrance to the media event. And unfortunately, as Michael because I think he was thinking like they're expecting to go to Guardians, and he kind of let us down easy. He's like, we tried, we just couldn't do it. And I know there were several members of the group that were kind of upset about that thought like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? Like, this is supposed to be a VIP, all-access kind of thing. But here's the thing, and this adventure in particular is prone to this, because Adventures by Disney is a different company than Disneyland Park. Everything that Adventures by Disney does at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure and Disneyland Hotel, they have to get permission from the Disneyland Park management staff. And they couldn't get permission to go to this event because it was out of their hands.
So like when we went to Walt's apartment, Abby and Michael didn't walk us into Walt's apartment.
Right.
They had to go get one of the VIP tour guides who had access to Walt's apartment, and he took us in.
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of handing off.
Right.
Not in a bad way or anything.
We had to have Dory with us when we were in the parks and doing things backstage because she was a manager of an attraction.
Yep.
And they themselves needed her to be able to access certain parts of the park. So it's just simply the way the Disney company hierarchy works.
Yep.
That yes, they have access to lots of great things because they're Disney, but it's almost in a way that because they're Disney doing Disney, the other Disney entity starts to block them and says, no, we're not giving you access to that.
If Adventures by Disney is out in the world and they want to get something done,
they've
got that big curly QD behind them that says,
and people are like, oh, come on in.
Come on in.
Right.
I mean, not always, obviously, but like they are able to open doors for you, I believe is their preferred expression.
I don't think it's theirs. I don't use it. Yeah.
So they're able to open doors for you. Anyway, but then when they're in the parks or anything, it's Disney talking to Disney.
Right.
So it becomes a bureaucratic nightmare for them.
A little bit of this.
Yeah.
After dinner, we had dinner at Carthay Circle. We had lunch there previously, and we're not impressed with Carthay at all. I was much more impressed with dinner.
Yes.
Although, to be honest, still would not be my go-to restaurant.
No. I enjoyed it.
It was good. it was even... No, it was good. But we also, during the course of the week, had eaten at Steakhouse 55 and Napa Rose. Both.
We hadn't eaten at Steakhouse 55.
Well, we hadn't eaten Steakhouse 55 yet, but during the course of the week we did.
Yeah.
But both so far superior to Carthay Circle, in my opinion, that I would readily eat at either one 10 times before I'd go back to Carthay. I mean, it was good. I'm glad we did it again because it was much better than the lunch we had there 2 years ago. But
again, steeped in Disney memorabilia, though.
Yeah, cool space. Not my favorite food. So.
Yep.
But one of the cool things about our trip, in addition to Abby and Michael giving us a pin for each day of our trip.
Yep. Pins you can only get on Adventures by Disney.
Right. We also got a pair of Glow with the Show ears. So do you want to turn those on, and just in case people missed our Disneyland podcast when we were wearing them? So they glow, and when you actually get to World of Color, they will sync up with the colors from World of Color. So if you're standing behind a whole bunch of people with Glow with the Show ears, you get all of these extras of the color you're seeing in front of you. So it's a pretty cool effect. Definitely a lot of fun. Definitely something we never would have bought for ourselves, but just a fun thing to have. So that was a freebie that was sitting on the table when we got there.
Yep.
That was exciting. And then we went to a reserved viewing of World of Color.
Yes. Great viewing area.
Probably the first time that you've enjoyed World of Color.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. We went before, when we were there 2 years ago, we went on our own. Got a fast pass. After we stood and waited for it for like an hour and a half, I was so tired and ready to go back. Ben was so tired and ready to go back. We were just like, this show is not worth waiting for on your feet. Then I watched it last year on my agent trip, and it was the 60th anniversary rendition, which I thought was phenomenal.
Thank you, Leah.
Yes, he is. Then we watched it from the DVC viewing area the weekend that we arrived, and once again, it was back to the normal version, and we were like, meh. But watching it, like, dead center, back just enough that you could get the full scope without getting sprayed by all the water, it was really good. It was a very, very enjoyable show.
Yes.
I'm glad we got a chance to watch it from that vantage point, because I was definitely ready to write off World of Color. I was
and
like,
again,
I don't care.
I'm glad we didn't have to stand around for 2 hours to get our spot.
Yeah, being able to walk right up and then the show started in 10 minutes was fantastic.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Dessert party, people. Dessert party.
Yes, yeah. If you're not on Adventures by Disney, the dessert party people were right in front of us. Now, take a raincoat, because they definitely got wet. But they had a great view. I would book a dessert party to see it again.
Yep.
And that was the end of our night, because California Adventure closed. So we had an option. We could have parked hop back to Disneyland, which was open until midnight.
Or we could be exhausted and go back to the hotel.
We went back to the hotel. Farewell breakfast the next morning was at Steakhouse 55. We did receive a pin on our last day, even though literally all we did was have breakfast.
Yep.
And
I'm just going to go ahead and say this.
Our guides and...
Steakhouse 55 breakfast, I had the best pancakes I've ever had. They were delicious. Yep. I've been dreaming about those pancakes all week.
I had the all-American breakfast, and my eggs actually were not what I actually asked for, but it was like, close enough. And everything else on the plate was really good. So at Steakhouse 55, I would say...
Bacon so thick you had to cut it and eat it with a fork.
Yeah, that was delicious. Disneyland Hotel food, very, very good.
Yes.
I would, if you're staying at Paradise Pier, don't eat there. Go to Disneyland Hotel and eat.
Yep. Steakhouse 55 we had for dinner later in the trip. I know this off socket, but it was very good.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I guess the last thing we want to do is go over the value.
Yes.
Because this was the thing that I was questioning the most going in. These are not inexpensive trips to take, obviously. They've got a Disney brand on them, and they're taking you to VIP exclusive access things. I mean, who thought that was going to be cheap, you know? But...
No characters at Steakhouse 55, just delicious, delicious food, and a very, like, almost a gentleman's club atmosphere without, like a real gentleman's club, not the scuzzy other type of gentleman's club, but very, very nice atmosphere. Very, you don't have to dress up, but there's definitely a very formal feel to it. Our server, what was her name?
At dinner? Beth.
Mm-hmm. She was great.
She makes margaritas for Matt Damon.
Yes. So yeah, the...
and he likes them.
Apparently.
We're now 2 degrees removed from Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Because we know Beth.
But I don't know if Beth actually met him. We might be like 3 degrees removed.
Oh, she met him.
I don't know. They just said... anyway. So yeah. But yeah, you're talking about value.
Value. I'm just going to take a rundown through all of the things that were included in the cost of doing an Adventures by Disney.
I thought you said you wanted to keep this under 2 hours.
Well, it's over 2 hours already, so I'm just going to do it. So we've already
Stay
talked
with us,
about
guys, please.
We've already
Thank
talked
you for
about
being
all
awake.
of them, but anyway, it was breakfast at Goofy's Kitchen, dinner at Carthay Circle, breakfast at Steakhouse 55, the ice cream social at Ghirardelli's, and it was order anything off the menu there. The gray stuffed cupcakes, the chocolate. We had chocolate covered strawberries in our room when we arrived at Disneyland.
We did.
Hotel. Popcorn and soda at El Capitan and movie ticket. Popcorn and water at TCL and movie ticket. The ride on the Griffith Park merry-go-round. The glow with the show ears. We each got 7 pins. Basically included Photo Pass, which at Disneyland is $78 for the week. At Disney World, it's $149. So I used 78 as my calculation, but you could argue that that's not the right price. 40% off coupons at Imagineering. 6 bottles of water throughout the trip. Snack baskets passed around with treats throughout the bus. Studio admission to Jim Henson Studios. Studio tour and archives. Imagineering tour. Private tour guide for 12 hours across 2 days in Disneyland and California Adventure. A 4-day park hopper ticket. 2 nights at Lowe's Hollywood Hotel. 3 nights at Disneyland Hotel with a pool view. Town car service from LAX, town car service back to LAX.
We didn't get that because
we used Super Shuttle because we did before and after things.
But yes, if you go to Adventures by Disney, they pick you up in a town car at the airport.
Right, and if you do, you can do pre and post night stays with them if you want to add on time. We didn't do that because we had access to other rates for our stays, so it kind of screwed up our town car service. But it was
it may not be a town car,
right.
but yeah.
Taxi to we would have had to take a taxi to get to Henson Studios, a taxi to get to Disney Studios, a taxi to Imagineering, a taxi to Disneyland, dinner at Lowe's, the buffet night, 2 breakfasts at Preston's at Lowe's, lunch at the Tam O'Shanter, lunch at the Studios Commissary, dinner at the Blue Sky Suite, breakfast at the Plaza Inn, and meal vouchers for lunch. If you add up the retail value of all of those things, and granted, I'm sure they get plenty of discounts. I came up with a total. Oh, and I actually missed some things I thought of today. We had gratuities for 11 step-on guides and all of our baggage handlers, which brings the total up over $6,700. If you were to go and book this trip for this year in September, because what we paid was actually different than what the cost was, because I did book this one on a travel agent rate, and the cost had escalated because the adventure was getting full. So, but I'm looking at a future adventure of the same year. Value is $6,700. You could book the adventure for $5,800. Would you spend $5,800? This is for 2 people. Okay. Would you spend $5,800 to go see LA and Disneyland on your own? It depends on how you do it. You could do it cheaper, for sure. Is the value there? Absolutely. The VIP access that you get, like, you cannot tour Henson Studios, Walt Disney Studios, and Imagineering without doing this tour as just a regular commoner like us.
Yes.
So those things are impossible to get otherwise. The backstage at Carsland, the backstage at Soarin' and Walt's apartment are not experiences that you can get with your VIP tour guide in the park. So even though we added in money for VIP tour guide, you can't even access those things. So to me, this trip is absolutely more value than cost, and I would definitely do it again.
Yes. We've talked about it, and we are definitely going to. In fact, I believe you have an Adventures by Disney trip already scheduled.
Yeah, I actually have one coming up in about 2 months.
Yes, so look for reports about that, too.
Yeah. So my mom and I are going to San Francisco. We're going to do the long weekend ABD, so that's only 4 days. So that's going to be like bam, bam, bam. That will not be a 2-hour show.
Yeah, well,
maybe, if I bring Mom on.
But no, but we found that along with all the other values, if you're a Disney person, this is a great tour to go on. Yeah. Because everyone else on that tour, Disney person. Right. Or someone who tolerates a Disney person.
Oh gosh, I didn't even add in the duffel bag and the little, we got a sling backpack too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another, $30 worth of merchandise?
Yeah.
The value's unending.
Yeah, and the experience was great. Right. I told Holly, my ideal vacation is going somewhere and sleeping. But this was the best vacation I've ever taken. It really was. And, it was not cheap.
No.
In addition, you have all your other expenses while you're there. You are on your own for meals and merchandise.
There was also not any point when we were under Adventures by Disney's care, we had no point where anything became frustrating or overwhelming, and it's not that you know, there are always like little issues that can crop up in the park, and they can be on your own time. And we just kind of lucked out that none of them happened during our adventure. But nothing when we were in Abby and Michael's care went wrong in any way. Like they, you know, we talked about a little bit when we booked the Warner Brothers studio tour. I booked it for 9:30 because I didn't know what traffic would be like, how long it would take us to check in, how long it would take us to get a cab, how far away. I mean, I knew from Google Maps, but like practically, how long does it take to get places in Hollywood? I have no idea. I've never been there. So we ended up arriving 2 hours early for our tour, and
we had a sketchy cab driver that took us over to Warner Brothers Studios.
Yeah, he was wicked scary.
So like, it is like a mobile Disney bubble that envelops you, and like Abby and Michael, like they weren't with us all the time, but if we needed something, we actually went out for drinks one night when we got back from the park.
Right.
And
we ran into Abby.
We ran into Abby in the lounge where we're at Steakhouse 55. And
she just stopped and chatted with us for a little while. Like, you know, she didn't have to do that. She was off.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. Because she was actually running to get rice because one of the other guests' phones had gotten soaked on Splash Mountain. So
she was trying to help her dry it out.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like, but she still stopped and talked to us. And like I said, when we were in line at the Disneyland Hotel to try and keep our same room for for the extension of our stay. And
Abby saw us in line and came running up to us like, "Is everything okay? What's wrong?" And we were like, "Everything's perfect. Like, everything is. You're doing a fantastic job. Everything is wonderful. Like,
yeah,
I just want to check on this one thing."
And like it was just a wonderful experience. I didn't know how I'd feel about having like
a babysitter.
Yeah, 2 babysitters keeping an eye on us all the time, but they weren't. You know, like they were like, "Okay, look, be here at this time." Everyone was on time, and they just took us along.
Right, and we did luck out that our group was very responsible, and they all showed up on time like they were supposed to. That was like kudos to our group. They were fantastic.
And they were full of wonderful people, and you know, just it was a great trip, and I just can't recommend it enough. It was really great.
And we've actually booked for next May.
Oh, so you get to tell them.
Fine, you tell them.
No, you tell them.
You tell them.
You tell them. You tell them.
We've actually booked in England and France Adventures by Disney for next May. So we'll be seeing London and Paris and some peripheral areas.
Probably Disneyland Paris.
Probably Disneyland Paris. That's not going to be official for a while. We have to wait for that release to come out, which will be a little bit of time. But
so because we want to try it where we're not in a Disney park.
Right.
We want to see what happens when we're outside the bubble.
In the real world.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to volunteer to teach us French over the course of the next year.
I started my Duolingo.
Did you really?
I did.
You're ahead of me.
I'm being yelled at by that bird because I haven't done it yet today. Because we're doing a 2-hour live cast instead of me... I'm
going to go get 2 lessons ahead of you. I'm not competitive.
Yeah, that's right, Leah. We're shooting to do Disneyland Paris.
Yeah. What are you guys doing? You want to go?
Howard probably just had an aneurysm.
Yeah, it just stroked out when he was like, how much is it? So it's good stuff.
Apparently there's an animatronic dragon under the castle.
Space Mountain has a loop there. I'm not getting on it.
Yeah. Well,
so that's pretty much the Adventures by Disney portion of our trip. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Yep. It has been like the longest show ever. So we very much appreciate your attention.
We managed to do it all in one.
We did. We probably should have split it into 2, honestly, but
probably.
Amy and Jeff will be back next week, and they would have been bored.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And I'm actually so sorry to end this podcast because it was such a wonderful trip, and we had such a great time. And I really enjoyed sharing it with you guys. So
if we see you in real life and you want to talk about it, come talk to us about it. We love it.
Give us an opportunity to talk about it more.
All right.
So we'll
That's it.